Brooms were out. It was kind of nail biting. But the brooms were out. I like it. Like it a lot. Yet another game gained on St. Louis. 7 games back is the closest team between the Cardinals and the Cubs to the Milwaukee Brewers. Wasn't pretty. Bases loaded. You needed a big play, and you got it. Got the double play. Ends the game. Oh, it was nice. I was listening to the Reds broadcast coming home last night on Sirius XM, and I was listening to the Cowboy Jeff Brantley, and you could just hear it in his voice, like, and the Brewers sweep the Reds, and he's got that country draw, and it's just the way it goes for the Reds this season, and just kind of made me, on one hand, I was empathetic for him because he's a good friend of mine. On the other hand, I was just kind of giggling because you could just hear the frustration in his voice. It's kind of like when Bob Uecker was doing games, and it would be, bases loaded, and up comes the pitcher. And you could, you'd walk the pitcher, and you could hear Uecker go, he just walked a run in walking the pitcher. And then you could just hear Bob like hit the button, to turn the mic off and just scream a profanity. It was that kind of a loss last night for the Reds. So Reds lose, Brewers win. Brewers off today, a much-needed day off. You know why? Because now they don't have another off day until we get to the All-Star break. So now it's, 13 games in 12 days or 14 games in 13 days, something like that. But regardless, we're going to have a lot of Brewers baseball over the next couple of weeks as we get into the All-Star break. So that is good. We've got news and notes around the NFL. We've got Badger stuff this morning we're going to get to. We're going to talk with our buddy Mo Edgar from Cincinnati and kind of get his thoughts on the division, his thoughts on what just transpired down there in the Queen City. We'll talk with him a little bit about how that season has gone so horrifically wrong. And I said, now Cincinnati is still, don't get me wrong, they're still in earshot of a wild card, but their season, as far as any thoughts of winning the division, it's over. 12 and a half games back. That ain't happening. They're 5.5 games back. They're the fourth least likely team in the National League to get to the postseason. They're 5.5 games back of the wild card now. The only teams that are further back are the Mets, the Giants, and the Rockies. The Mets are 9 games back. The Giants 9.5, and the Rockies 11. The Reds sit there 5.5 games back. The Brewers delivered pow, the punch to the solar plexus, and that's all she wrote for Cincinnati. Now you just got to concentrate on the Cubs and the Cardinals, because the Cubs and the Cardinals, as of right now, are tied for that second spot in the wild card. Philadelphia, by the way, they're a game up, and they would be a wild card team. And since their horrific start to the season, they have poured it on. They have been playing a lot of winning baseball. They are now 44-36, 8 games over 500. It doesn't seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but considering at one point they were 5 games under, they've played at a 13-plus game clip, and they are only 4.5 back now of the Braves. Remember, at one point they were 9 games back, and they are gaining ground. The Braves have lost 4 straight. So the Brewers, with the second best record, only behind the Dodgers right now in the National League, at 49-29, their next win gives them 50, which, by the way, they have the second best record in all of baseball, because the Yankees, who lead the East in the American League, are 48-31. The Brewers are 49-29. Brewers have the second best record in all of baseball, very quietly. So today you're waking up and you're thinking to yourself, man, I'm fired up for my team. Hell yeah. There you go. How we looking? Want to remind you that you can get a hold of us in many different facets. We always appreciate it when you do. If you want to give us a call, you can. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. You can track us down on a text line. Let your voice be heard there, and that is 608-321-1670. 608-321-1670. You can watch us each and every day over on YouTube, absolutely free. Subscribe for free. That is youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. On Twitter, on X, @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels, or find Grant @Wisco Grant. Our app is Wisco Sports Zone. Take us anywhere and everywhere. You can watch us, download us, listen to us, whatever it is you want to do. Your heart desires. Oh, my goodness, you can do it. That's awesome. Email the program, TheBillMichaels @gmail.com. The website, simply TheBillMichaels.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We always appreciate that. Make the meter move. and TikTok. That is under the Bill Michael Show. The Bill Michael Show over there. And you can make the meter move. Where are we today, by the way? Oh, we've gained another follower. I like it. Gained it. We get the remote control out of the way over there. Over on the meter. 5066 we're out. Climbing to 5100. Like it. Thank you very much for following us. We really do appreciate that. And in addition to that, we're on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. And you can also track us down on our television show, which airs on Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time in Milwaukee on My 24 TV. That's My 24 TV. So we appreciate you being along for the ride on all of those different platforms and hanging out with us and kind of soaking up some of the joy, if you will, of what the Brewers were able to accomplish last night. For the first time in a long time, the Reds have been swept at home. So a nice accomplishment, and the Brewers just keep beating the Reds. I mean, the Reds, if the Brewers played the Reds every series, the Brewers would be 110 and 52 or whatever it is in the season. So, but that being said, Grant Bills, how the hell are you doing today?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm having quite the adult week, if I may brag for just a moment. I got an oil change yesterday. And this morning, I dropped off some clothes to be dry cleaned for a wedding this weekend. Oh yes.
God, really?
So I know we're a ways out from tax day. Maybe I'll just tackle that today while I'm at it. I don't know. Submit some money into my retirement fund, maybe. I am excellent today. There was a huge NBA trade this morning.
Yeah.
The NBA, this has been one of the juicier little, I know we're just starting the offseason, but Giannis moving, LaMelo Ball is a Timberwolf. I am entertained by the NBA right now in a way that I haven't been in a while. So I was listening to a little K-Fan this morning, hearing what they were having to say about it. So that was entertaining me this morning.
Who knew that LaMelo Ball would end up being what he is, right? Because in the beginning, it was more about his dad and the height than it was about his actual ability to play basketball. And he's turned into a pretty decent player. So, yeah, it was, and he gets overlooked because we had LaMelo Ball fatigue for a long time because of his just stupid ass father. But now he's off, he's moving, and the fact that he's actually turned himself into a pretty good basketball player is rather impressive through all the hype. So very quietly has gone about his business.
So I was listening to K-Fan while running my multitude of adult errands this morning.
The multitude of adult errands.
Well, just being responsible. I filled up with gas. Check my windshield washer fluid. There was plenty in there. So.
Hey, is Kate okay? I saw her last night. Speaking of adult things, I saw her working last night. Did you see the ballpark she was at?
No, where?
I guess in Beloit. Whatever the storms were that rolled through, you couldn't even see out of the press box. It was just the wind was howling and the rain was coming down, and holy moly!
There's this stretch of land from Dodgeville to Janesville, Beloit that's just been pummeled. I feel like a dozen times so far this summer, and we've gotten in Madison once or twice, but it feels like there's been another 6, 7, 8 times where another gnarly storm has gone through, but the worst of it has gone south down towards Beloit. Did you see this on Instagram, Snapchat?
I did. I saw it. I think it was Instagram this morning. When I got up, I was starting to scroll, and Kate popped up, and it was
not enough time.
What the hell is that?
Not enough time in the day to watch all this.
Right, and then I looked, and I'm like, oh my God. Okay, well, that did not look, pleasant by any stretch of the imagination. You could hear the wind. I mean, I'm like, did like the roof blow off or what have you with the press box? It sounded wicked. Yeah, right. Yeah, it sounds wicked when you look at it. Good time last night in lacrosse. I went out and back and got home, I guess, about 11:30 last night, quarter to 12. I couldn't sleep. I laid and tossed and turned till about 1. And I know when I do that, I should probably go to, like a melatonin gummy or something like that. I should have taken one because I keep forgetting. Like yesterday, whenever there's a threat of rain or thunderstorms, they don't work on the street. Yesterday, that was that day, so I got to sleep in a little bit. Today, 7 a.m., right away, you hear bang out in front of the house where they're dropping the piping for all the different driveways in the street. Because as I told you before, my yard is a staging area, so they were banging them around. Then they cut half the street off this morning because now they're running the pipes under the street, so they had to cut the street open. So now the road is completely shut down at the bottom of my street and the top of the street. Not only are they working on the top of the street, but they've got the road on top of my street that's a connector road shut down as well. I don't know what all they're doing, but it's like, I don't even know. I got to get a helicopter to get the hell out of here. I had a friend of mine that wanted to come over and pick up some Summerfest tickets. And I said, okay, come on by. He's like, I can't get down your street. He said, I can't even get to the street to get down your street. I said, well, I'll send him by carrier pigeon if I have to. We'll worry about it tomorrow.
I love the ongoing saga of you just trying to enjoy a peaceful morning,
right?
A cup of coffee, and they're dropping concrete tubing in your front yard.
The big metal tubing makes more noise than the concrete does. Those big giant metal aluminum pipes, they drop those things and then they drop the concrete in, and it's just bang, bang, and then the backup beeper that seems, to go forever. And I'm one of those sleepers. I don't sleep with shades on my windows. Do you? Do you sleep with the shades down?
I crack them a little bit because I like the sun to wake me up in the morning.
I do too.
It's easier.
And I like to be able to see outside at night. Like if it's storming or something, I love that. I love the outdoors.
I can't be in pitch black. I need like a ship at sea. I need a reference point in my room. Yes. It can't be too dark. Yeah.
Kristen is the opposite. She is looking for blackout shades, complete darkness. I told her, I said she ought to sleep in a deprivation tank. She would be so much better off. But yeah, I just, was kind of waking up this morning at 5:30. I was like, here comes the sun. And I opened an eye and I'm like, I'm going to go back to bed. And just as I started to fall asleep, then beep, beep. And okay, got to get up. So that's my first world problem. That's because people go, oh, woe is me. Some people live with this kind of stuff every day. Me, I have to put up with it for about a month and then I'll be back to my normal life, I guess. But anyway, so that being said, Brewers get a nice win last night, and to get to win the series, that's one thing. To get the sweep in Cincinnati, something that hasn't been done in a long time, that's another. And the fact that they then have expanded their lead over not only Cincinnati, but now there's 7 games up on both the Cubs and the Cardinals. That's what I keep saying. It's just if you can just keep winning series and you just gain a game slowly, a game a week slowly. By the time you get to the All-Star break, you may have an 8-game, 9-game lead before it's all said and done. Now, I mean, you can go the opposite direction too. You could falter horrifically, and the next thing you know, it's 3 and 4, and that's not the way you wanted to end the first half of your season. But nevertheless, they're just getting it done. It's been so impressive to watch, even in bad moments. And now you've got Uribe. He's got his suspension taken, done, and so that's out of the way. That's not hanging over his head anymore. So all of that going on. So just such good stuff. Such good stuff for the Brewers last night. So.
Well, and last night, to win 2 or 3 is one thing, like you said, but to get the sweep and the way they got it, like the Brewers pitching was not good last night.
No.
They gave up 11 hits and they walked 11 guys.
Yeah.
And they load the bases a bunch of times. Like last night was more, if I was a Reds fan, we'll talk to Mo Edgar later. I don't know what I'd be doing with myself today. I'd be a miserable prick for 4 hours on the break. They had the bases loaded a couple of times and they couldn't score on Grant Anderson, they scored on Craig Yoho and Joel Kuhnel. They
could not throw strikes to save his life. And I tell you what, it was funny because I'm listening coming home because I'm listening. I was just listening on Sirius XM, so I'm listening to the Reds home broadcast. And just as many times as Chris Hook made a trip to the mound, I think it was Jeff Brantley had said in that country draw, he said he's going to owe us some landscaping money for the pathway that he's working out in those grasses right now out to the mound and backs.
He's going to need hip surgery just after Murph gets his.
Yes, just trying to climb up out of the dugout. So yeah, it was. And then he made the pitching change last night. Chris Hook was the one that made the pitching change last night. So Murph must be hurting for him not to be heading out to the mound. But regardless, last night, Brewers get the, hey, you take an ugly win. I just always remember, Irv Favre telling us, I don't care if it's an ugly one. I don't care if you win by 50. Put a W in the column. That's all that matters. Stack success. And so that's what the Brewers did last night. So they get themselves a win. They get a much needed off day today. And then here come the Cubs. Here come the Cubs coming into town on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you got the Cubs in town. You've got Summerfest going on. So
I'm going Friday. I'm going tomorrow night.
Are you going tomorrow night? Okay. Yeah. We're talking about it. We might go.
Ooh. Anybody on the lineup?
No, not really. I got friends in town. I had friends of mine that wanted to surprise us and say, "Hey, we're here."
Well, they did a poor job. It sounds like.
So they showed up last night.
They already surprised.
They're here.
Okay.
Yeah, they're already surprised us. So they're here. So, and I don't mind. I haven't been to Summerfest in a long time. But I don't mind going. Kristen's kind of like, indifferent to it. We enjoy State Fair a little bit more. I used to love Summerfest, but it's just some of the bands now, if they're not, I'm not going to see a specific band. I'm not the drinking, wandering around from space to space to space to get my next beer person. You know what I mean?
You can't just surrender and be a free spirit for the day. I'm going to go where the beer and the music takes me.
I can enjoy music, and I can, we'll probably see friends and people down there, and all that kind of stuff. So we might go, hey, if you do come to town, I got to hook up because I got your Grant jersey.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I got to get you the Grant jersey.
I have a rehearsal dinner tomorrow night in Elm Grove, and then
if you see Kate, grab my selfie stick for God's sakes.
She still has that.
She still has it. She brought it to Viroqua and said, I got it, and then got hammered, and I never saw her after that. So.
Never made the exchange.
No. So if you see her today running around going, hey.
I can work on that.
Hey, by the way. So maybe she'll be in tomorrow. Maybe she'll drop that off to you. But yeah, I got your Grant jersey. So maybe if you're going down, we'll all hook up. So and do that. All right, that's the Open, a very somewhat self-indulgent, boring Open. But we're all excited because the Brewers get themselves a win, and they're off tomorrow. So let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. Coming up here in about 15, 20 minutes. A little bit longer than that, actually. Jesse Temple is going to join us. We're going to talk about the AD search. We're going to talk about getting ready for football season, media days, all that kind of good stuff. Also, rumors. Did you hear the rumor about Greg Gard? Michigan could be looking over the fence. That popped up. Somebody mentioned that on Barstool Sports, and I'm like, wait, what? No. Now, the only thing that does bother me is Michigan could pay him a lot more money. That's for sure. But I said, no, I haven't really heard that, to where it's anything credible. But there was a preponderance that, Greg Gard would be a good fit as a seasoned Big Ten candidate to go there. And, by the way, would probably jump at the chance because there's more money there to be spent. And I thought, no. I'm gonna squash that before it gets going. But it is something I'm going to talk to Jesse about. So I'm interested.
Well, and I don't think the Greg Gard stuff is real. I think it's mostly just Twitter accounts throwing stuff out there. But Dusty May leaving for the NBA is a huge college basketball story.
It really is.
Has kind of gotten buried this week with the Giannis and there's a lot going on. But that's a massive story in sports, whether or not Greg Gard is connected at all. And I don't think he is. It is another stamp of this is not something that's fun. This is not something that is sustainable. And we just won a championship. Dusty May said, we just won a championship and I'm losing half my team. Because they just are going to get more money to go elsewhere. Because they've proven themselves. So they're being poached. So it's like, it's got to be, look, I've always said coaches jumping from job to job for more and more money and getting bought out. I thought it was always garbage. But at least there was a buyout. There were some contractual obligations there. What's going on with NIL, this can't be sustainable. Ryan Day asked the Greater Columbus Business Council, I think is what it was, for $60 million. $60 million. It's only a few years before we're talking about a $100 million payroll for a college football team at some point. It's not that far away. And that's stifling. Let's do this. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Bill Michaels Show, how we looking? Hopefully your day today is fantastic. Want to remind you, Conversations for a Cause coming up with a man that is guiding the Brewers right now to the second best record in all of baseball. It is going to be a night with Pat Murphy, and it's going to be Thursday night, September 10th from 5 to 9 at the River Club of Mequon. Tickets are on sale now, and I got the update today. There's only 32 tickets left. It'll sell out for sure. There's only 32 tickets left. Out of 100 and I think a total of 35 or something like that, there's 32 tickets left. That's it. Conversations for a Cause with Pat Murphy, Brewers manager, coming up Thursday night, September 10th. If you want VIP tickets for the meet and greet, you can get them. If you just want to get general admission, you can get them. Quick Trip, our friend, excuse me, I got all choked up there for a minute. Quick Trip, our friends at Quick Trip, because we're doing a cigar hour from like 5 to 6. So you don't have to, but it's going to be outside on the deck at River Club from 5 to 6. There's going to be kind of a cocktail hour. Quick Trip and Quick Spirits, they have supplied 2 boxes of cigars. So the cigars are free. We're even giving you cigars. So you got dinner, cigars, an evening with Pat Murphy, a meet and greet if you want it. And then we're going to do about an hour Q&A. I'm going to be on the stage with Pat for probably 20 minutes. And then after that, it is you. You ask Pat the questions. And it's going to be just an intimate conversation and a very great insight into the man that's guiding the Milwaukee Brewers. We're so looking forward to it. He's got such a big personality, and we're so happy that he agreed to do this for us. So it is Conversations for a Cause. Go to bigunitfoundation.com. Get your tickets now. There's only 32 left. bigunitfoundation.com. That is bigunitfoundation.com. Go to the events section, and you'll find it right there. That is Conversations for a Cause with Pat Murphy, Thursday night, September 10th from 5 to 9 at the River Club of Mequon. Go to bigunitfoundation.com. I can't wait for that. I'm so excited. Good. I'm looking forward to that big time.
Kate was telling me she wants to go to that.
I told her if she wants to go, she can go because she wants to do social media and she's great at that stuff.
Perfect.
So like, if you guys want to go, you can go. I mean, you know, you can call it work, and we can do some stuff for the show the next day. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to it. I've seen Pat a couple of times, and he gave me a wink and a nod the last time I saw him. He says, "What are we going to talk about?" I said, "What do you want to talk about?" He says, anything and everything. I said, okay, well, we'll do it, you know. Asking for everything from car advice to parental advice to managerial advice, whatever else you want to throw at him, you know.
Craig Yoho's command.
Yes.
Probably, maybe at the very end.
Favorite cities to travel to when he goes on the road, places he likes to eat. What's good, what's bad, think of it. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
what happened with Keston Hira from his perspective. I'll write these down. We don't need to.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We can get into that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a fun evening. So, and Kristen, all I did was get the cigars, and I'm showing up as the MC. Other than that, this is all her baby. So she's got the food stations and carving stations, and you just go take your plate and you walk around, you pick up whatever food it is you want. You go to your table because the tables, if you're a host table, because sponsorships are still available. So if you want to be a host table, I think you get like 10 tickets with it free. Well, it comes with the host table plus the VIP experience and everything. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. So excited about that. Looking forward to it. Like we said, Brewers give themselves the sweep. Now they're off today, back at it tomorrow. Here come the Cubs. We're going to talk with Mo Edgar coming up in about an hour and 10 minutes from now. I'm looking forward to this for two reasons. One is just to kind of get the pulse as to what Mo thinks of the National League Central. And after getting a chance to witness the Brewers up close and personal, get his outside opinion, because he's a pretty good dude when it comes to that. Not to mention the fact that the cat is now he's repping a cigar company or a cigar manufacturer or something now. I got to find out how he got that deal. So he's either following in my footsteps or I'm following in his, one of the two. But regardless, the dude is always on Instagram smoking a cigar somewhere. So I'm loving it. So I want to touch base with him on that. So got that going on too. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, hit us up. This one's from Mark, who says, well, the Brewers getting the sweep. The big series is coming up. If they can knock the Cubs 2 out of 3 off the pedestal, that would be fantastic. That's all we care about is these Cubs fans coming into American Family Field, infiltrating us, and then walking away with victories. Please, God, don't let them sweep us, which I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. But you got to figure, if I'm a Cubs fan, I'm making this weekend my weekend. I'm coming up today. The reason why is because, say you go to only one game, but then you're going to go to Summerfest. I mean, this is a big weekend for the city of Milwaukee for hotels and reservations and all that kind of stuff and dining and everything.
As someone who has a hotel room for a wedding, I can attest it is a very popular weekend.
Yes,
hotel room in Milwaukee.
Big time. So it's a big weekend here, big time. So yeah, you're right. It's going to be a lot of out of town people, a lot of Cubs fans, a lot of Chicago people coming into town, checking out the Brewers, going to Summerfest, maybe even doing both in one day. You know, going to Summerfest during the day and then coming to the game in the evening. But yeah, it's going to be a big weekend, no doubt.
And the Brewers have their rotation lined up: Mizorowski, Harrison, Woodruff versus TBD, and TBD, because every single Cubs pitcher is hurt.
Excellent.
Although one should be David Peterson. They acquired him from the Mets last night. Bryce Wilson they picked up. He was DFA'd, so maybe Bryce Wilson gets a start. But the Cubs pitching is not, on paper at least, going to quite stack up with what the Brewers are rolling out there this weekend. Who knows how the games go, but the Brewers have it lined up the way you'd want. And their bullpen rested. They gave their A bullpen, got the night off last night, off day today, so you're lined up for the weekend.
Yep. And I that was very much on purpose. And it was funny because Ashby got up and started throwing last night. And I thought, well, that he's thrown 2 nights in a row. Yeah, I know that today's an off day, but I didn't think you'd throw him on the third. And he got up and started tossing. I wonder if they were just having some gamesmanship with him in the bullpen. Like, he would only come in if it was 100% absolutely positively necessary. But yeah, they had him up throwing last night, and they never used him, obviously, but still. Yeah, I thought that was a little bit interesting too. Joseph says, excited about this Brewers season. They are looking better and better. Even when they have to win ugly, they still win baseball games. And when you start winning ugly, that's when you know a good team is becoming a really great team. That is from Joseph. Joseph and Aaron, by the way, and Aaron listening. Where are they listening to us? Oh, they're listening down in Sarasota, Florida. Okay, I like it. Sent a picture too. Thank you very much.
Not a bad place to be.
Not a bad place to be right now. Sarasota, Florida. Mel says, I like what's going on with this Brewers team. You can just see that they're fighting until the very end. Even some of the bad pitches weren't terrible pitches. It was just in the corners. They didn't have their best last night, weren't able to create some of the challenges that they've been successful with. But, oh, well, take a couple of shots. If you got to win a bad one, win a bad one. That is from Mel. Sean says, going to the game this weekend. I've got 3 Cubs fans coming to town for exactly what you said. Summerfest this weekend. Brewers and Cubs coming up this weekend as well. Oh, my God, I can't stand it when the Cubs win. Please, God, win on Friday and Saturday. That's from Sean. I think he means, please, God, Brewers win on Friday and Saturday. Like that also. This is from Ted, says, wasn't there some kind of a tax that they were putting on tickets for Cubs fans, so at least we're making more money off of them? They were doing that years ago, right? Question mark. They did, where they were kind of tiering games, basically. There were certain games that were higher tiered prices. I don't think they do that anymore. I could be wrong, but I don't think they do that anymore. Like you had to, like wherever the tickets were bought online, whatever your zip code was depending on whether or not it would charge you a different amount of money. But I don't think they do that anymore.
Parking prices, but I don't know anything about the tickets. Jack up the parking prices. Stick it to the Cubs fans that come up here. Why not?
Yeah. But beyond that, I don't know if they do that, to be honest with you. But I got to expect, and I haven't looked into this to see anything official, but I got to expect it's going to be 30,000+ per game per day. I would have to figure it's going to be that for this weekend series. Sean says, what's the weather going to be like this weekend? I think it's going to get hot on Sunday. I think it's nice today and tomorrow and even Saturday. I don't think we really have any chances for rain, but who cares? We got the roof. But as far as the weather goes, I think it's going to be pretty nice this weekend. I don't know. You know what? I woke up today. I was lucky to wake up. I really was. By the way, the cigar dinner last night, and thank you very much. Earl says, great cigar dinner last night. A lot of fun stories and a great time. Looking forward to the one in Pettibone. And he said, Jax was great. What did you think of her? So last night, Altadis Cigar, which is Monte Cristo and a couple of the other, brand cigars that they represent, it was a girl. And her name was Jax. And she was Jax Guevara. And she was fantastic last night. Really, I mean, just very knowledgeable about cigars and just, because more and more women are doing it. But, I mean, she was like all over it last night. She gave a hell of a speech about all the different cigars and the wrappers and the brands and everything that they carry. And, yeah, she was really good last night. She was a lot of fun. Sat and talked to her for about an hour as we were sitting there eating dinner last night. It was a lot of fun. From Fort Lauderdale, Florida, she flew up for that. There last night. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, Grant, because I recognized her face. I'm like, where do I know you from? She was one of the cigar dealers at Cigars with the Stars when we were at Super Bowl.
That makes sense.
Yeah, she because I had forgotten that I hooked up Altadis and Monte Cristo with the Ditka group, and they have a booth every year at Cigars with the Stars at Super Bowl when we get a chance to go to that event. And I'm like, I know you from somewhere. I just don't know where and where I know your face. And Rich, who had been with Altadis for a long time and still is, he just moved up in the company. It was Rich and her. And they were the ones that were dealing out the cigars at Cigars with the Stars. So I'm like, there you go. Small world. All right. I blathered on. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. Anything else you got, go ahead and shoot it to us. We've got news in the NFL. We're going to talk some Badgers when we come back with Jesse Temple coming up here in about 15 minutes. You got a trade. The Hornets. The Hornets trade LaMelo Ball to the Timberwolves for some picks and Naz Reid. So there was a move today. No move right now when it comes to Tyler Hero or anything like that going on with the Milwaukee Bucks. So the question you can kind of ask yourself is, how much better do you think the Bucks really are or not regarding the moves that they have made? We can get into that discussion as well. But some interesting stuff going on in the NBA. The NBA is actually giving us a few things to kind of chew on. You've also got another, I guess if you want to call it an incident in the NFL, where a player is being sought for kidnapping and robbery charges. And it's right here in our own division. Terrion Arnold, the cornerback for the Detroit Lions, facing multiple felony charges. He was arrested yesterday in Tampa, Florida, in connection with a robbery and kidnapping going back to February. So we know you can get arrested later down the road. We're still waiting to find out what's going on with Josh Jacobs, but we're going to get into all of that stuff. Apparently, Arnold was accused of coordinating and directing the co-defendants to lure 3 men to an apartment where they basically beat the hell out of them and robbed them, according to the state's attorney's office. So we'll find out if all of this comes to fruition or not, but he is now facing multiple felony charges. They are charging him, where Josh Jacobs has not been charged, but Terrion Arnold is being charged. So that's some interesting stuff coming out today as well. So got a lot going on. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our great friends over there at Game Day Men's Health. Oh, my goodness. Peptides. Yep. GLP-1. Yep. They do it all. They do testosterone replacement, even ED help if you have the erectile dysfunction. Whatever it is, weight loss, energy, muscle growth, you want to look better, you want to feel better, if you're over the age of 30, call them. That's the best thing I can tell you. I was asked about it last night. I'm like, look, I'm not a doctor. All I know is what they did for me. I feel great. I look better. I've lost weight. I'm good to go. I'm working out. Don't hurt as much. Can I keep going through the checklist? That's Game Day Men's Health. Get a hold of, if you're in the Milwaukee area, I go to the one in Delafield and Brookfield. That's where Jennifer's at. She's fantastic and very, very, very knowledgeable. She's the best. So I go there. Otherwise, they have them in Hales Corner. They have them in New Berlin. They got them all over the state of Wisconsin, for that matter. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Whatever it is you need as a dude over the age of 30, they can help you with it. All you got to do is ask, and all you got to do is get checked. Tell them, hey, you want more energy, you want to be more fit, you want to lose a little bit of weight, maybe you want to gain some muscle, whatever it is. They've got something for everybody, and they can help you out. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That is GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Truck drivers, don't miss out on the unmatched consistency of a Schneider driving job. With our industry-leading selection of driving options, you'll find a job with the freight, home time, and schedule you've been looking for. Plus, Schneider drivers operate state-of-the-art, well-maintained equipment and have access to award-winning benefits and a 24/7 support team. Don't wait. Find a job that offers the stability you need to fuel your career. Search jobs and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Bill Michaels Show on this Thursday edition. Speaking of festivals, got Summerfest on. Coming up in about a month. As a matter of fact, a month from tomorrow. July 25th, 26th, and 27th, German Fest gets underway. A month from today, we're going to be live at German Fest down at the Summerfest grounds, giving you the preview into the festive season. Hopefully, I get to end the show that day with one of those big ass boots of beer, one of those gourmet pretzels and a big ass boot of beer. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's when you should come to town, Grant. Go down to German Fest with me because they won't be open yet, but they'll be setting up, so we'll have the run of the place.
Beautiful.
That would be.
I'll drink a big boot of beer for you
Big
for the
boot
show.
of beer. Yeah, you got to take it for the team. Yeah, big boot of beer, big old pretzel. Oh, can't wait. Looking forward to it. So a month from today, we'll be down at German Fest previewing everything. July 25th, 26th, and 27th is when it all gets underway. Go to GermanFest.com, GermanFest.com. Then the next day, I'm off. You'll be doing the show. I'm off. I'm doing a golf tournament for the Grafton Gridiron Club for the high school. They asked me to be a part of, Kristen and I to be a part of their golf outing and to MC their golf outing. So I agreed to do that. Since I'm not really taking any kind of big vacation this year, I've already done that. So I just have days here and there that I'm going to kind of take
in.
Yeah,
what day is that golf outing?
Let's see here. It is the July, I think it's July 20.
We're just doing this on air.
I don't know. 24th?
I'm sorry, everybody. We'll figure it out.
Something like that.
Friday? Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep, something like that. Yeah. So July 24th, it was Friday. So
I just have German Fest in my calendar now. I'll brush up on my German that week.
Yeah.
Just feel a little bit more authentic.
Yeah, I don't even know what beer is. I just know it's beer, and that's beer. So that's what I care about. Beer.
That was profound.
Yeah, that's deep. Good strudel every now and then. Kraut, schnitzel. I don't even know what schnitzel is. It just sounds funny to say.
Some kind of meat prepared some kind of way.
I don't know. Spark
Next month. We have a month to get ready.
How do you say, what is it? Gemütlichkeit? Gemütlichkeit. Okay.
Ein Pro.
Yeah.
You do have to learn that song.
I do have to learn that, but because we do that when we go to Oktoberfest. But they have the Gemütlichkeit games. Have you ever participated in them? Those are the ones where the girls they take the pitchers, or not the pitchers, but the big steins of beer, and they walk with 2, and they go the other end and they walk with 4, and they come back the other end and they walk with 6, and they keep going, and and then that's where the one where the girls like holding, beers stacked on beer, and as a waitress how far she can go, a server how far she can go. They do those, and they do the barrel rolls because you got to roll the barrel so fast and so straight. To get it from point A to point B. It was all these different games regarding like pub stuff. I remember participating in those when I used to work at a country station in Cincinnati. They did them for German Fest down in Fountain Square
which everybody knows Fountain Square because it was the fountain that they always showed in the beginning of WKRP in Cincinnati. And it would say, baby, if you ever wondered, and it would say right there, welcome to the city of Cincinnati on that fountain. They would do it on that Fountain Square. So I would do the Gemütlichkeit games down there. Easy for me to say. So
is it easy for you to say?
It's terrible.
I was gonna say,
I feel like I'm going to throw up every time I
say
say it. It's like my tongue gets stuck in my mouth and I can't move. Ooh, I just can't get it to come out. Gemütlichkeit. Okay, whatever.
Close your eyes. Think of that beer cheese soup when you're trying to say.
Oh, I can say beer cheese soup with the best album. I'll tell you that right damn now. That's really good. So
you didn't stop into Buzzards last night? I guess.
No. I got out there. I went straight to Celebrations, and I'm the 2 seconds. Celebrations, great food. We had this barbecue baked beef. I don't know what it was, but it was fantastic with a chicken and then mashed potatoes and stuff. I don't know where they make those cupcakes. And kudos to Lindsay with Quick Trip, because I told Lindsay last year we didn't have the cupcakes, and I said, okay, I'm not coming back next year until they get those cupcakes back. And Lindsay, I walked in the door and Lindsay said, Bill, and she's smiling. And I said, yeah, good to see you guys. I haven't seen you in a year. And she said, I got you the cupcakes. So last night they had salted caramel, s'mores, chocolate brownie, and chocolate red velvet. And I don't know where they get them, but Celebrations, they have the best freaking cupcakes in the history of cupcakes. The only ones we didn't have last night were the caramel apples. I'm telling you, I was going to put some in my pants, but everybody ate them. I didn't even have any to take home with me last night. But I was so full by the time I got done. I ate 2 cupcakes and my meal, and I was like, gosh, should I go to Buzzard Billy's? And I'm like, I'm not going to get home till 11:30, 12 as it is. I'm like, okay. So I came on home. So I did not make it over. So there you go. All right, I blathered on enough. We're going to do this. We're going to go and talk to Jesse Temple and actually bring sports back into this. So let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Jesse Temple's going to join us. We're going to talk some Badgers. Got to find out more about the athletic director search. I want to squash the rumors of Greg Gard. I want to do that right away. And we'll talk some football as well. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Jesse Temple joining us on the hotline from BadgerConnect.com. So, Jesse, there's all kinds of things I want to talk about. I don't even know if we got enough time for all of this stuff today. How you doing, first and foremost?
I'm doing great. How are you, Bill?
I am good. Okay, yesterday, I got a question when I was out last night at one of our dinners, and they asked me about Greg Gard and the rumors of him going to Michigan. Have you heard any of this?
No, it would certainly be a surprise to me and wouldn't really make all that much sense. And I know Dusty May's off to the NBA. First of all, if someone was going to maybe double Greg's salary, maybe that would be something to be intriguing. I mean, I know Dusty May made about $500,000 more than Greg, but like Greg is a lifer at Wisconsin. He's built his staff. He's got the program performing at a consistent level. And I know Michigan won a national title, but yeah, like I said, that would certainly be news to me.
Yeah, it would to me too. I know it was something that I think it was Barstool Sports or somebody brought up, and it kind of grew from there. I just wanted to make sure there was no, because this is one of those things where you always say, well, there's smoke, there's fire. But I'm thinking this is just a whole lot of smoke that comes from basically nowhere other than just preponderances out loud. That's it. So I wanted to make sure that we were on the same page there. Anything new on the athletic director search?
Well, it's coming soon. I know that. Obviously, they've kind of laid out what the timeline was, and the goal was to have someone in place this summer. And I would certainly expect it to be sooner rather than later. Imagine sometime in July. And they're kind of whittling down the candidates. But as of now, we're just sort of in a wait-and-see mode.
What is the quality? If there's a specific quality that stands out, like they're looking for or considering when you start to think about the candidates or listen to who the candidates may or may not be, because to me, the number one thing in an athletic director at this point is to figure out what amount of money you're going to be able to get via investors, donors, and what have you. I mean, you're almost looking for a banker at this point, aren't you?
Yep, I think that's certainly the role of the athletic director in this modern college athletics landscape has changed. You've got to be able to understand finances and go out and fundraise and get people excited about the programs, because you're never going to need less money. It's
right.
Like you're always going to need more. So you need to be able to have that component. But I also think it's important to be an effective communicator so you can relay what's happening within an athletic department. And you also have to still be able to, I think, have relationships with coaches so you can make the right decisions about who you fire and who you hire, because as we've seen, that can make all the difference in the world with particular sports programs.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, I saw Ryan Day went to the business community when they were asking for over $60 million for the program. How long do you think it is before we see a program getting $100 million for a payroll?
I mean, I'm never going to put it past some rich donor or a set of rich donors or maybe a business. Obviously, this is an arms race and it continues to go up. And I know when Ohio State won the national title, not all that long ago, they had a roster that very few rivaled, I suppose. And so I don't know if we'll get to 100 million, but I'll never say no. I know that. And then I would also say there are going to be certain programs that are going to be consistently on a different playing field from even other power conference schools, because that's just an astronomical amount of money.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount of money, but I foresee this coming down the pipe unless there's something that's going to be done sometime soon to kind of curb what's going on in college athletics. How big of a statement was it for Dusty May to win a championship, say half of his team is going to be leaving, and then leaves for Dallas? I mean, we've seen coaches retire or say that, hey, this is not sustainable, but this is a guy that just wins a championship and says, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going off to the pros. How big of a statement was that?
It's a heck of a mic drop moment. And look, if anyone can do it, it's the guy who just won a national title. And, Grant and I have talked about this on his show, that He sort of laments the idea that all 5 guys could be transfer portal players and you just insert them into the starting lineup. But it's clearly worked for Michigan, and that's the methodology that I think a lot of teams are looking at, because if every team could do what they would, I guess you could say it's not sustainable, but you also get paid a lot of money in college athletics too as a head coach. So not every head coach is going to get an opportunity to coach an NBA team, but that's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and certainly don't begrudge him for taking it.
Now we also know who is going to be going to Big Ten Media Day. Obviously, they're going to put a few guys on display for people to chat with and start to kind of get the optimism for the 2026-27 season. So your thoughts as we start to creep through the corners into the football season? I mean, is there anything new, anything to grab onto, or are we just sitting back going, okay, let's hope and pray?
Well, Big Ten Media Day is sort of the unofficial kickoff to the season, and Wisconsin's going to go on July 28th. That's a Tuesday, and it's in Chicago. The representatives are going to be Matt Young, who's a safety, wide receiver Chris Brooks Jr., and then outside linebacker Sebastian Cheek. I think they're clearly going with guys who have been a part of the program for multiple seasons, who have earned a lot of respect. It's not necessarily the flashiest crew. You're not bringing your quarterback. You're not bringing a Mason Sosa type guy, but they're good representatives for the program. But as of now, it's a little slow. They're doing the summer workouts and all that kind of stuff behind the scenes, but they're going to get rolling here in the first week of August, because the season opener against Notre Dame is right around the corner.
Yeah, and there's a lot of excitement for that. I guess my next question is, Badger fans start to get excited for that game. I mean, the worst case scenario is they get blown out and they lose by the 2-touchdown spread at this point, right? I mean, for a lot of optimism to have that balloon come crashing down is kind of the worst way to start the season.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Wisconsin's entire team just went to Lambeau Field last week to take a tour of the facilities and kind of get the feel of what it's going to be like. Obviously, no one really thinks Wisconsin's going to win. Notre Dame right now is a 20.5-point favorite, and they're legitimate national title contenders because they returned 14 starters. It's going to take Wisconsin's best showing in many years to pull this off, but if they do, much like a decade ago against the number 5 LSU team at Lambeau, it totally changes the trajectory of the season and the narrative around the Badgers program and Luke Fickell and what he could possibly do here.
Great stuff over at BadgerConnect.com. You got a good one with UW Athletics Hall of Fame inductee Ron Vincent sharing stories from his hockey career. Jesse, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon, pal.
Thanks, Bill. Talk soon.
There you go. That is Jesse Temple. Good stuff. Bam, bam, bam. Right through the list. 1 hour down, 3 hours yet to go. We got a lot more to get to. Don't go anywhere. More of the Bill Michaels Show. We'll be right back.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers finished off a sweep of the Reds last night in Cincinnati. Milwaukee led 6-1 at one point, but needed a double play with the bases loaded to preserve a 6-5 win. Milwaukee did get a 2-run homer from William Contreras. The very next at-bat, Jake Bauers drilled a solo shot for his 13th on the season. Andrew Vaughn seemingly broke the game open in the 7th with a 3-run double before the Reds made their late charge. Shane Drohan was good in his start, going 4 to third innings without giving up a run. Third straight game, the first starter did not allow a run. The crew getting the day off before opening up a weekend series against the suddenly formidable Cubs, who have won 9 of 12 and coming off a doubleheader sweep of the Mets yesterday. It left the Brewers sitting 7 games up on the Cardinals and the Cubs for first in the NL Central. Turning to the Bucks, their 2026 draft class is complete after adding Arizona guard Braden Berries and Tennessee forward Nate Ahmet in the first round on Tuesday. They traded into the second round to grab forward Malik Lewis with the final pick of the draft. The 21-year-old spent the last 2 seasons playing in the NBL in Australia, where he averaged 6.9 points per game. The team will introduce Berries and Ahmet at a press conference this afternoon.
Everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences, now Abbott, has teamed up with UW Athletics to help promote cancer prevention and early detection. The Exact Sciences Athletes Program is unique as it connects UW student athletes with the company's work to provide breakthroughs in cancer care and treatment. UW student athletes helping raise cancer awareness to make a difference in the Madison community. Learn more at uwbadgers.com/exactsciencesathletes.
Well, at the World Cup, it's game day for the U.S. as they take on Turkey in the final group stage match. The Americans have already clinched the top spot in their group and a place in the knockout stage. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Kyle Prin.
Welcome in. How about them Brewers? How about them Brewers? Sweet, baby, sweet. 3 in a row over the Reds. Come back home. They got an off day today, a much-needed off day. And then after that, you got the stretch run into the All-Star break. 7 games up on the Cardinals and the Cubs. They just delivered the knockout blow to the Reds as far as their shot at winning the division. The Reds now 5.5 games back in the wild card. And the Brewers just keep getting it done. And hopefully with the 3 against the Cubs coming up this weekend, they get it done. And then, oh my goodness, think about this. Then they got the Reds coming to town for 4 games. They get 3 out of 4 over the Reds in that series as well. Oh, oof. God forbid they sweep the Reds again. 4 straight. Oh my goodness. By the time the Reds get to the All-Star break, they could be 15 games out. Think about that. Oof. So we're going to talk with Mo Edgar from ESPN Radio in Cincinnati coming up here in a little bit. We'll chat with him, not only just about the Reds and their woes, but we're going to chat with him. In addition to that, we're going to chat with him about just the National League Central and his take, kind of the helicopter view on the outside looking in of the Milwaukee Brewers and what they have going on right now. So we'll see there. But good stuff. Even on in a game and in a situation which they don't play well, they got to win. So that's fantastic. So Brewers get a win, and now they're off and running. Got one here from Steve. Steve says, happy Thursday to you. We appreciate everything you did last night out there in lacrosse. Had a lot of fun, great stories. I was more intrigued by Jesse's discussion regarding the Notre Dame game. 20.5 points is a lot of points. Do people really think that Notre Dame is that good or the Badgers are that bad or a combination thereof? What if the Badgers come close but no cigar? Pardon the pun. He's got an LOL smiley face after that. We talked a little bit about that last night. Let's just say it's a 24-21 game, and it takes Notre Dame a drive in the last minute or two to win the ball game. That is a moral victory, but if you're going to come close like that, just win the damn game. You know, it would be a moral victory, though. It would certainly be a confidence builder, but it was all. I guess it depends on you look. If you're a guy in that locker room and you lose 24-21 and thinking you made a couple of mistakes, you could have won that game. Yeah, there's a confidence level there, but you also think to yourself, we could have won that game and it slipped through our fingers. Here we go again. So I don't know if that's a moral victory. Maybe for fans it would be. For us in the media, it would be great to talk about, to say, oh my God, what a game. You know, they gave Notre Dame everything they could hand. But then the argument is going to be, well, it's early in the season. Notre Dame took them lightly. All the excuses are going to be made. And it's not going to matter because of whatever it is you do the rest of the season. If you come out and then you win the next 3 or 4, well, then that was a great starting point. You learned who you were and you gained confidence coming out of the Notre Dame game. But if you go 2-2 in the next 4 and you lose to a team you shouldn't lose to, then it's going to be like, well, Notre Dame proved you had flaws and Notre Dame didn't even play their best football and they were able to beat you. You know, I mean, it's just going to depend on whatever perspective you have of the team at that point. That's why I said last night, it's great if they have a close but no cigar game. But really, you want to put an emphatic stamp on the season. You win that game.
My take on this has been the same for like 2 years now. Anytime, well, they played this team close. I've seen them play teams close.
Right.
I've seen them play Oregon close, Indiana close. I've seen them play Penn State close at home. Not sure about Ohio State. They actually showed like fine against Ohio State last year.
In the first half, they played really tough.
Yeah, like I've seen them hang in there against elite teams. I've seen them do that. I know they can do that. That doesn't.
Right.
It's better than getting blown out. If you're telling me, Bill, hey, you can lose by 3 to Notre Dame or lose by 30. Obviously, losing by 3 is better. But I've seen them do that before. What I haven't seen them do is make that necessarily, those 1 or 2 plays in the second half to actually win that game and pull it off.
And I would agree with that. Now, had they won at the end of last season and knocked off Minnesota, I think we come into this season with a completely different perspective. Because you had momentum, you had, 2 or 3 wins over top 25 teams. You had those signature wins last year. And then if you would have ended on a high note, we would have been thinking about things in a much different light. Like there's momentum that came out of that season that's going to forward into this season, even though the team changes dramatically with, the NIL. You would have been thinking, okay, that was the way to end the season. You didn't fold. And instead they folded. It was a crappy weather day. Who cares? Minnesota beat you. They had to play in it too. Doesn't matter. I don't want to hear it. Because that was the excuse being made by Badger fans. Like, shut up. Everybody plays in the same playing field in the same weather. One team's going to win, one team's going to lose. Why are you the team that lost? Coming in with that level of momentum. So had they won that game, I think we'd feel a little bit different today coming into the season as opposed to where we feel because of that loss and the way the season kind of ended. It ended with a thud rather than a few roses and blooms and rockets. So I'm just kind of hoping that I'm not calling a victory by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm hoping that the Badgers come out looking at it like we got nothing to lose here, man. Nobody believes in us. Nobody gives 2 damns about us. They think the program is dead. Their coach is going to get fired. All we want to do is go out and just whoop ass. I mean, just leave everything on the field to start your season and then see what happens. Because if you do that and then you still lose, you get a gauge as to where you're at. But if you do that and you play with the reckless abandon to the point where you're kind of a controlled reckless abandon and you still go out and give your all and you win, then you actually figure out we've got the capability to beat a really good football team. So the rest of the season then sets up behind that going, anytime we play this level of we have a legitimate shot at winning. It doesn't matter who they are. And that's a confidence builder. But going in there and losing, like you said, the close but no cigars, we've seen that. Okay, you played Ohio State tough for the first half. Then they kicked your ass. Okay, we saw them play Penn State tough. Oh, you played Alabama tough for the first half. Okay, great. And then after that, they blew your doors off. Who cares? Play tough like that for an entire game and close the game out. And then we'll go, okay, program's right on the backtrack.
And I'm not saying, look, that's not a bad thing. It's not worthless to play an elite team tough, but it only is meaningful if you turn that into something.
Right.
The problem with this team, and I go back to 2 seasons ago specifically, is they would play Penn State tough. It's like, oh, that was, maybe there was something there. And then they'd get their doors blown off by Iowa the next week. Mm-hmm. And then they'd play Oregon tough. And then the next week they'd get their doors blown off by Nebraska. So it's like, if you play a good team tough and you build on that and you get better because of it, right. Sure, that's one thing. But I haven't seen that to be the case with this team.
Max writes, great show, guys. The Brewers record, very nice and everything, but we need to win in the playoffs. Tired of all these seasons with great records, but fizzle out in the playoffs as everybody is. Jot down your text number so I can text as well. That is our friend over there. That's Max. There you go, Max. I can agree with that. Let me ask you this. Are we having fun as Brewers fans right now? I think we are. Is it the summer of entertainment? Yeah.
And passion.
In passion. Is there hope? Yes. How many out there realistically look at this and go, you know what? If they get an arm and they don't sustain any significant injuries along the way, how many people believe that they can end up in a World Series? If I had to say, give me a percentage as to the Brewers ending up in a World Series of your belief, what would that be?
That they could or that they
could?
Will?
That they could or will, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm going to say this year, man, I really feel like this team's got it. And you go, okay, well, what is the percentage? You're 100% sure? Well, no. 50? No. Okay. Like I'm thinking, even with as exciting as things are, with Miz and Woodruff coming back and pitching extremely well, and Cooper Pratt's rise, and maybe there's more on the horizon. Who knows? Maybe they pick up an arm. Who knows? But with the back end of the bullpen, once you get to the postseason, you get a couple of days. You play 2 or 3 games, and then you get a couple of days off, and because it stretches it out, you're going to go to the 4-man rotation. Okay, so where are they? I think my level of confidence is Can they beat the Phillies in a wild card series? Can they beat Atlanta? Can they beat the Dodgers? Everybody else, I think there's a sustainability. I think they can beat the Cubs. Even if they squeeze it out, they can beat the Cubs. There's a choke factor there, but I think they can beat the Cubs. But my percentage would be probably about 30% of me thinks they will be the representative for the National League. And I think if I had to say, I'll give you the Dodgers or the rest of the National League, I think most people would take the Dodgers. So are we looking at this as just, we're just enjoying the ride because the belief is they're not going to go to a World Series? We're Brewers fans. We're used to failure. We haven't been there since 1982. I mean, we've lived on that for how many decades now? 4 decades? 4+ decades. So what is your percentage? So in other words, I get what you're saying. And Max says, look, the record's great. But if they don't do anything in the postseason, it doesn't matter. So my question then becomes, not winning in the postseason, has it turned you off as a fan? Or you are right back on the bandwagon and we're right back? Because if you look at the numbers, people are going to American Family Field. People are tuning in. People are watching. People are excited. Brewers merchandise sales are huge. Euchre sales are huge. I mean, it's just, all of that is big right now. So it doesn't seem to be the deterrent as a fan to say, my team doesn't have a legitimate shot at getting to the postseason. I think we're all looking at it going, yeah, they're going to the postseason, but they're not going to the World Series. And if they go to the World Series, maybe that's just nothing more than a bonus for the rest of us who kind of have already been convinced that, that's going to be close, but no cigar, because they just don't have enough horses to get past the big, giant money market team that is the Dodgers.
I don't trust their lineup. I don't believe in their bats. I think their starting pitching right now is their strength. Their bullpen is, who knows how those guys are going to pitch in September, October. I don't trust their bats. I don't trust Contreras. Yelich looks horrible right now.
Yep.
And watch, he'll hit a home run against the Cubs this weekend. I believe that, but his average is down to 258. He looks lost. Mm-hmm. So really, for guys in the playoffs, I'm like, that guy gives them a chance. Churio and Terang, and I think Vaughn is a dog, and I trust him to put together good at-bats. I just don't think his ceiling is not that high. You know what I mean? If you put Vaughn's makeup and his approach in Contreras' body or in Yelich's, a different case. But they got like 2.5 hitters in this lineup where I'm like, that's a guy who can get you big hits against elite pitching in the postseason. Yeah. That's really it for me, and that's what worries me most.
That's exactly right. So that goes back to my question before. Do they need a bat or an arm? Because an arm would be great. Good pitching shuts down good hitting. That's the reason it's an old adage is because it's true. But if you had to sit here today and say, what do they need the most? We would all think, well, bolster that rotation and you're going to be really, really good. But that's probably not it. They need another reliable bat because now, granted, after the All-Star break, maybe things change. Who knows? Maybe it's the break that they need. But we've seen this, this is wash, rinse, repeat, where they play really well. They win 90+ games. They can win the division. They go to the postseason, and the bats get completely shut down. Completely shut down. They don't have that threat in the lineup. And even Jake Bauers, for the season he's having, he's fantastic, but he's not an everyday guy. Vaughn is not the power hitter that you wanted him to be, but he's playing terrific ball. Maybe Cooper Pratt emerges with a great average, but he's not going to be a power hitting guy. Jackson Churio has been Mr. October. He's giving you numbers, but he can't do it by himself. Contreras is having a hell of a season. But I agree with you. If you don't have Yelich being Yelich, it's all for naught. There's no threat in the lineup that consistently scares you. And then the question is, where do you put him? And would you dare say, if we're seriously going to get better, if they make a move for that bat, would you say, sorry, Christian, you're not going to be the DH this guy is going to be? Because let's talk about that, because that's an honest answer to this. You don't have a DH that is a threat. You've got a DH you're paying a lot of money to, and he's a fan favorite. And that's why he's in the lineup. Because he's not giving anything right now. He's ascending. He's descending. He's not ascending. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I mean, granted, Yelich is going to be here till 2029. But if you really want to call it what it is, and him being in the clubhouse is great. Him being a leader is great. When he's on, he's on. But is he a legitimate threat anymore? And if he's not, can you continue to run him out there as the DH? 877-867-1670. I hear a pin drop out there right now because I've said what everybody thinks, but nobody has said. Do you at some point sit them down and go, dude, you're not contributing. You're not helping us. And you're not a threat. You're not anybody that we're pitching around. We need that guy in the lineup, and you're not that guy. Our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, go to PellaWI.com. Get the free in-home consultation. Go to PellaWI.com or call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. Whether it's home beautification from the outside, the curb appeal, the value that's added to your home, the economical factor, safety factor, all installed by Pella certified installers to make sure that it's done right, to make sure that they work, to make sure that they're safe and secure when you lay your head on your pillow at night. All those reasons, get the free in-home consultation from our friends at Pella. Go to PellaWI.com or call them direct, 855-PELLA-WI. That is 855-PELLA-WI. And whatever you do, when you call up, say, hey, heard about it on the Bill Michaels Show, and give us a little shout. Give us a little shout out. We appreciate that. Go to PellaWI.com or 855-PELLA-WI.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
are back in the Bill Michaels Show. We are brought to you by our friends at Cousin Subs, where they believe in better. Whether it's on the subs, and I highly recommend the pepperoni melt. The pepperoni melt, extra mayo, extra cheese. Oh, it's so good. You really want to indulge, get the big one. Have it for lunch and dinner. The chocolate shakes are awesome. I never thought that just the sub shop would be so good with chocolate shakes, but they do it. They do it damn near better than anybody, even some of the ice cream shops around here. So Cousin Subs, man, they just really, really good. And you can join the sub club. They have catering as well. The party boxes, whatever it happens to be, whatever your needs are, they can do it and fulfill it. And they're local, and that's the best part about it. And they're based right here in Wisconsin. So go to cousinsubs.com. That is cousinsubs.com. Now, here's a couple of thoughts. And I threw out there what a lot of people don't want to talk about. Okay. Aaron in Marshfield says, how is the NLCS doing nothing in the playoffs? Aaron, it's not that it's not doing nothing. When you get to the NLCS and you go very quietly into that good night against the Dodgers, basically when your offense becomes anemic and you don't have a way to stop the bleeding with the arms, that's what people are talking about. People look at it as, well, you beat the Cubs, so you can beat another team. But once you get to the big boys, they basically swat you away and say, go away. Now it's time for us to go to the World Series. So I agree with you saying that, no, nothing in the playoffs, what people talk about is getting to an NLCS. That's fantastic. You're one of two teams in the National League that make it that far. That is an accomplishment. I do not degrade that. But to keep knocking on that door and not being able to get past it because you know what the shortcomings are going into that particular series, that's, I think, what frustrates people. So if you're saying that, okay, and you want to give them props, okay, that's great. And I can understand that. But then you tell me, what percentage of you believes that this team is going to a World Series? What portion of the team? If you have to say 70%, 50-50, 60, 60-40, what percentage of you feels like they're actually going to end up in a World Series? Because if you say it's anything less than 50%, then you understand the frustration of Brewers fans. Because that means you're getting to the NLCS, but you're knocking on that door, but you're just not going to knock it down. You know what I mean? He also says, Suarez was the big fish at the deadline. He went to Seattle and laid an egg. Every night playing matchups, we have the real threats on the bench. Come to playoffs, if we consolidate, we can win. We're still scoring more per team than anyone but the Dodgers, who have us by the hair. We can win. I agree that Yelich is lost. Hopefully he gets it right. Lockridge was batting .296 with a decent power when he went down as well. Dropped Perkins and platoon him with Frelick. And yet that's another threat there. The negativity you're putting forth can be put forth almost by every team. I'm not. It's not negativity. I'm giving you, this is fact. If you look at it as negativity, that's fine. If I'm pissing you off because that's your team, I'm sorry. But the bottom line is, when they have faced the Dodgers, the offense has gone away. I mean, flat out gone away. Christian Yelich has done nothing against the Dodgers in the postseason. Go back to 2018. Anemic, gone, lost, gargling on it, choke, nothing. The real conversation is, if that is your leader who's not doing anything, is it time to bring another bat in to say, you got to sit? You got to sit. Now, we can hope that he comes back and hope that after the All-Star break, the numbers pick back up and he goes back to being Christian Yelich, or maybe there's something that's ailing him that needs a little bit of a rest. Okay, I can go along with that. Gives you big hits, gives you big moments. He's a fan favorite, right? But if you had to say what's best for this team right now, I agree with you with Blake Perkins. He's a sinkhole in the offense. Same with Joey Ortiz. Sal Frelick, man, I just keep waiting for him to bust out. And it's been so tough to watch, It's been so tough. But if you're going to make this team better, what are you going to do? If you had an endless amount of money and trade capital right now, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? There's no guarantees. I get it. There's no guarantees. Like if you go out and get 3 bats that all of a sudden they're going to start hitting and, this is going to be different. I get that. But if you're going to look at this team and you're the general manager, you're going to say, here's our weaknesses. Here's where we need to get better. If we truly are going to get to a World Series, what would you do? Let's go to Everett in Montfort. Everett, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill Michaels, how's it going?
I am doing great.
I agree with you in that Yelich, he needs to get out of the lineup. My dad says he might be a geezer as well, but my dad says Christian Yelich, you just got to give him time. We've given him enough time, Bill. Talk some sense into this man over here. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, my question is time for what? Time for what? Because we've seen it. Go back to 2018. He was nothing in the postseason when it came to the Dodgers. You go back to when they played the Dodgers last year. There was nothing there. There was other than leadership in the clubhouse and having his presence, and guys love that. What is he giving you on the field that you can say he is invaluable to this lineup?
Absolutely nothing. He's got a problem with the Dodgers. He's scared of them. He's a big pansy. Get him out of the lineup.
I think we're starting a family feud. I appreciate the phone call. I look at it this way. Thank you. I look at it this way, and you're right. I'm not saying he's pansy, but what I'm saying is there's something with the Dodgers. He just can't get past it. It's just not there. Well, here we go. Jill says, how can you talk that way about Christian Yelich? Let him get through an entire season before you start ripping the guy. Historically, he's played really well against the Dodgers during the regular season. I get it. It's the postseason. There's a lot of pressure, but everybody's under pressure, and he's not doing his part. But then again, nobody else is doing their part either. Jill, I agree with you, but let me ask you this. When you need the leader to step up, when you need that guy, that bat, that hit, that big moment, somebody to say, damn it, here we go. Get on my back. Are you relying on Christian Yelich?
No. Let me answer that. I'm not even talking about the postseason. I give a rip about the postseason right now. Yelich is horrible right now. He's striking out more than ever before. He's walking less than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
That looks slow. He's guessing. He's behind. Right. He looks very lost right now. And look, write it down. He's hitting a home run against the Cubs this weekend. Like, he will hit a home run this weekend.
Yeah.
So I realize he'll have a moment here and there. But the full picture of what he's doing, if you break down offensively, his profile right now is bad. It's trending in the wrong direction.
Right. Yep. I agree. I'm just saying when you get to the postseason and we start thinking about what is going to benefit this team, and I still think it's going to be an arm, but it is not out of the realm of possibility if we don't see that improvement to say you're not playing the field, you're not a threat at the plate, they're not pitching around you to get to the other guys. The guys that are hitting before and behind you aren't being the benefactor of hitting near you. What value are you bringing to the team? And I think it's a legitimate question. I really do. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. We're going to get into this. We're going to stay with this. But when we come back, we're going to get the helicopter view and the perspective, not only on where the Reds are at, obviously, but just the National League Central in general. Our buddy Mo Edgar from ESPN Radio in Cincinnati is going to be joining us. So stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show upcoming. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at Point Brewing. Point Brewing, brewing excellence since 1857. And it's time to sit by the lake with the Drop Dead Pale Ale. The Drop Dead Blonde or the Lakeside Pale Ale. They've got those. Plus, they've got a whole slew of NAs now. NAs become somewhat popular. So if you're one of those people and you're doing the NA thing, but you still want to enjoy the taste, there you go. That's our friends at Point Brewing. And by the way, they still got the root beers, still got the sodas, the Concord grape, the creamsicles, all that good stuff. Something for everybody. They even have the kiddie cocktails. If you want to bring the kids into the mix, they got something for everybody, man. And they're based right here in Wisconsin. Again, Wisconsin-made product. That is Point Brewing, brewing excellence since 1857 in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Hey, better. Swing into Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee for the $300,000 Big League Series. Just play with your rewards card over 3 months to earn entries. Here's the lineup. Leading off April, on deck May, in the hole June. All monthly entries you earn will roll into drawings on Friday, June 26th, where you could win cash, free play, or one of 3 new Toyota vehicles. It's the $300,000 Big League Series, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, win's the easy one, but I think it's too blanket of a statement. Every game is different, and I always feel that way. They're a very good team. They're hard to beat because they challenge you in so many ways. But we just have to be more consistent in a number of areas.
Easier said than done. Terry Francona talking about the ability to beat the Milwaukee Brewers. It was kind of an anemic series when it came to the bats for Cincinnati and for Milwaukee, for that matter. It's just Milwaukee had the arms, and last night they got a little bit of luck in the latter portion of that ball game, and they walked away with a sweep. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at The Nice Ash Cigar Bar. Tonight is Thursday night. You got live music tonight. Tomorrow night, Friday Night Live takes place in downtown Waukesha. And you can kind of walk the streets with your favorite beverage, and then you head into Nice Ash Cigar Bar, get your favorite cigar, get your favorite stick. They got live music on Friday, Saturdays as well. And don't forget, they have hookahs. They've got fine bourbons and whiskeys. Huge walk-in humidor, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha, Wisconsin. Stop in, tell them we said hello. I might even see you down there this weekend because I'm going to do a little meandering probably on Saturday night down in that direction. So we might even see you over there. A guy that I am envious of because he too has a cigar sponsor. I see him all the time smoking a good one, which is our buddy Mo Edgar from ESPN Radio down in Cincinnati. Mo, how you been, pal?
Bill, I'm doing well. How's everything?
I am good. I got to tell you, I bought my 513 Skyline hat because I saw you promoting them. So I'll let them know that I did get my hat in the mail, which is awesome. Terry Francona is befuddled as to why the Reds just simply can't get over Milwaukee. And I guess my question to you is, what do you see right now that, as somebody on the outside looking into the Brewers, that the Brewers are doing and the Brewers have that Cincinnati just can't figure it out?
You know, it's interesting. I've brought that up on my show a bunch here, because the common complaint, I'm sure you hear it too, is, well, the Reds can't compete with the Dodgers. And I go, cool, fine. Mm-hmm. Compete with the Milwaukee Brewers because they haven't been able to do that. And so that's where that's when you start to look at, okay, what do the Brewers do as an organization? What do they do with their manager? What do they do in terms of player acquisition and development that the Reds simply don't do? And I guess for me, it's like maybe you might not agree with this. Maybe the grossest illustration of what the Brewers seem to do well that the Reds don't is the fact that Joe Conal got 2 saves in this series. Now, if you look at Joe Conal's stats, when he was with the Reds for, I think, over a 3-season period, I think his ERA ended up being over 6. Mm-hmm. In Milwaukee, they have found a place for him in the bullpen, right? I know he's not the number one option in the 9th inning, but he was completely gassed in the 9th inning last night and still got Dane Myers to hit into a game-ending double play. I think there's just something to that, though, where the Brewers find guys and get something out of them that it's not just the Reds, that other teams simply cannot. I also get the sense, and look, Tito Francona is going to the Hall of Fame. We know that. But I've read a number of pieces on the air. I think you've talked about this with me on my show. It feels like in Milwaukee there is a refusal to accept mistakes, whether they're mental mistakes, physical errors, whatever it is, that for whatever reason the Cincinnati Reds, you don't identify them with that, right? Mm-hmm. And you see a lot of guys making the same mistakes time and again. Maybe it's on the bases, maybe it's in the field, but there's just something about how well buttoned up the Brewers seem to be and how they're able to turn over stones to find gems. And I think neither are the case here in Cincinnati.
two things to what you just stated. One is something that you can't put a sabermetric statistic to, and that is culture. I think it started somewhat with Craig Counsell, was then taken to a different level when Pat Murphy took over as the full-time manager, and he's got that almost grandfatherly figure where I'm just not going to put up with crap. And everybody knows, and he's very honest about it. He's very upfront. He's sat guys. He's pulled guys in the middle of an inning for making an error. So there's that. And then the other aspect of that is going to the pitching side of things. The Brewers were one of the first teams ever to bring in that pitching lab, that diagnostic machine where they just tweak something that makes your delivery, makes your spin rate, whatever it is, begin to increase. And they've perfected it. In my opinion, the Brewers, remember when the Cardinals used to bring anybody up? It didn't matter. They were just all of a sudden Cy Young. The Brewers have become that. They've been able to figure guys out to say, look, you're a good pitcher. You just got to do this. You know, like Sproat was a guy that had a different arm angle. They tweaked it a little bit, and all of a sudden now he's throwing brilliant baseball after his first couple of outings being horrific. So I agree with you. I think they've got something going, a little magic elixir. But I also hear it, like you said all the time, about how can you compete. We were just talking about it. How can you compete against the Dodgers when you get to the postseason? But again, you got to get there, and you got to do it right, and you got to be that division leader on a consistent basis. And for whatever reason, there's a culture here that is accepted by the players, instilled by the manager, and it's something that permeates through the entire organization.
I don't know what as an organization the Reds do well. And I've asked that rhetorically. I've asked it to people, you know, with the Reds. I go, okay, like what is the franchise's identity? You mentioned the Cardinals, and I think the Brewers are, frankly, a little bit more modern example of it. But, you know, we used to hear all the time about the Cardinal way. And you're right. It felt like every year they promote a guy through their system to just look like he knew how to play. Didn't mean he was going to be an all-star. You know, didn't mean he was going to get a second contract. Didn't mean he was going to have an exceptionally long career. But for years, I used to watch with such envy how the St. Louis Cardinals would just get guys to the big leagues, and then they never had to send them back because they were ready. Reds do that well. No. I've read a list, and look, the Reds have done well in the first round of the draft in recent years. Chase Burns, absolute stud. Sal Stewart, absolute stud. Hunter Green, when he's healthy, absolute stud. Obviously, getting Ellie De La Cruz, who wasn't drafted, absolute stud. But if you look at the last 15 years, and you look at rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the Reds draft, you're not going to find anybody. In fact, I think and I don't have this in front of me, but I did the thing 2 weeks ago where I said, let's look at the history of the Reds over the last 30 years in rounds 2 through 5. And I think in round 3, you'd have to go back to 1993 to find the most recent third-round pick who spent even a full big league season with the Cincinnati Reds. So they don't draft well. Okay, fine. Or do they find hidden gems and get something out of them? Occasionally they have. But for the most part, no. Are they great at developing talent? No. Are they awesome at finding, you know, second-tier free agents, third-tier free agents, bargain guys and getting something out of them? They've had their successes. J.J. Bleday was a nice pickup. Nathaniel Lowe has been a quality pickup, but by and large, the answer is no. Are they a whiz at taking players like Luis Castillo, Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker, guys they traded in 2021 and 2022? Are they great at turning those guys into younger, long-term pieces? Frankly, the answer is no. What are they good at? Right? And so, you know, they hired Terry Francona, and that's great. Again, Hall of Fame manager. I think he had a very positive impact on last year's team. But I think there was a real sense by some fans that, okay, they got a better, more experienced, more qualified manager than David Bell, and suddenly a lot of this stuff is going to be fixed. And as we have seen over the last year and a half, while they did make the postseason last year with 83 wins, having a Hall of Fame manager hasn't fixed any of that stuff that I just outlined. And until some of that stuff gets fixed, until you are able to identify what this organization is good at, then the results are going to be, frankly, similar to what they've been for the better part of the last 30 years.
Cincinnati has basically a weekend to regroup, and then they're at American Family Field, and they're staring down the barrel of the Brewers yet again. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. It used to be you could go in and beat up on Pittsburgh, and you'd think, okay, this is great. We're back on, put the train back on the tracks, but Pittsburgh's even picked up their game somewhat. So you're quickly looking at this going, and I said it going into the series, if the Brewers swept the Reds, they just gave the Reds the knockout blow when it comes to even their thoughts of winning the division. That is now gone when you're double digits down going into the All-Star break. But if they punch them even harder after, say, they only win one against Pittsburgh or two against Pittsburgh, but still don't get any ground, and then they can lose 3 out of 4 to the Brewers here, that's got to be demoralizing at this point to have such a stretch of baseball in a 10-day period absolutely kick you in the solar plexus if that indeed happens.
Yeah, season's on life support. It's hard to imagine, but, go back to late April. This team was 20-11. And 20-11 are doing a great job of winning one-run games, winning games in extra innings. And to me, the biggest change between the first 4 weeks of the season and everything that's happened subsequent to late April has been the bullpen. In the first month of the season, I thought that the work that Nick Craw, the president of baseball operations, did with the bullpen was really going to pay dividends, because it kind of felt like they were going to be able to carve out specific roles for innings 7, 8, and 9. And over the last, whatever it's been, 6, 7, 8 weeks, that simply hasn't been the case. The closer, Emilio Pagan, was not very effective before he got injured. Then he got injured. He hasn't pitched since early May. They've had an injury to Graham Ashcraft, one of the more reliable relievers. Pierce Johnson has spent time on the injured list. But by and large, that group has been an abject disaster, really since May 1st. And when you don't have a team that scores 1 billion runs, and the Reds have all sorts of offensive issues, below league average production at every position on the field except for shortstop and first base, you better be really good at getting outs in innings 7, 8, and 9. And as we saw last night, as we saw in extra innings on Monday night, that simply hasn't been the case. And until that gets rectified, this team's ability to even come close to sniffing a wild card, forget the division, that's out of reach. Their ability to even come close to sniffing a wild card is going to be severely limited.
Now, I know there is the small market thought when it comes to being in Cincinnati, and I want to ask you this specifically because we're looking down the barrel of a possible work stoppage going into the 2027 season. Are what the Brewers doing being perceived on the outside looking in as ruining baseball? Because the dominant teams have been the big money teams. They're winning World Series, but the Brewers are continually winning. They're winning divisions, and they're getting to the NLCS. They just haven't been able to get past that hump. But the argument that the big market teams have against the small market teams to say, hey, we need a salary cap, when you look at the Brewers and go, no, you don't. Are they ruining baseball on the outside looking in?
I'm sure there's some people who feel that way. It's interesting. I'm sure you can find people who would say the Brewers are ruining baseball, and then in the second breath, they'll tell you the Dodgers and Mets are ruining baseball. Well, which is it, right? Can't be both. I don't think the Brewers are ruining baseball. I think the A's are ruining baseball. I think the Pirates are ruining baseball. I think the Rays to a degree, and the Marlins. And look, the Rays have a very good team. I think it's one thing when you do what the Brewers do and create and exploit market inefficiencies and get really good at developing talent and get really good at winning. When you're a team that goes forever between playoff appearances, when you're a team that just smacks its fans and endless rebuilds and you don't spend to get out of it, I think that's a lot worse for baseball than what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing. I think if you ask people in Pittsburgh, what's worse for the game, the Pirates and Bob Nutting or the Brewers and their ownership, probably say the Pittsburgh Pirates. I would be willing to bet that if you said to folks here in Cincinnati, what's worse, the Reds and how they've been run and currently enjoying, if you will, the longest drought of advancing in the postseason in all of professional sports. Is that worse for the sport? Or is what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing worse for the sport? I am fascinated by how this CBA negotiation is going to go because, number one, if you use history as a guide, players never accept a salary cap. It's the strongest labor union in the United States. But I do feel like there's a different resolve among owners because of what's happened with the Dodgers. I feel like acquiring Kyle Tucker was a tipping point for baseball owners this year. And so it feels like both sides are really, really dug in. But I stop well short of saying that what the Brewers are doing is bad for baseball. I point the fingers at the teams that don't spend and aren't even remotely close to as successful as Milwaukee.
Real quick, before I let you go, give me your thoughts on the rest of the division. The Cubs, the Pirates, obviously the Cardinals.
Kind of keep waiting for one of them to do what the Reds has done, right? You kind of keep waiting for one of them to crater, and the Pirates really haven't totally cratered. The Cardinals haven't. You kind of keep waiting for the Chicago Cubs to turn things on. We saw them, the Reds saw them at Wrigley Field back in the spring when it felt like they were going to never lose there, and then the bloom came off that rose pretty quickly. I still feel like Chicago's got a charge in them. I still feel like the Cardinals are due to drop off just a little bit, but heck, we saw the Reds play St. Louis, and St. Louis beat them 3 to the 5 times they played. So we'll see. But it's been a remarkably good division. What the Brewers are doing, we say it every year. At some point, all the attrition is going to have to catch up to them, and it doesn't. And the rest of the division is looking up at them.
Mo, you're the best. It's the reason we call you. We appreciate it, bud. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll talk to you real soon, okay?
Okay, Bill. Thanks.
Thanks, bud. Talk to you soon. There you go. Mo Edgar joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline. He's from ESPN Radio in Cincinnati. You can find him at Mo Edgar. And a really good show. He's worked down there on ESPN Radio for a long time. And been really, really good.
I love baseball talk especially this time of year.
Yeah.
Like I just love baseball talk.
Yeah, Mo's
on
fantastic.
This format on Sports Talk Radio.
Always good to talk to him and kind of pick his brain a little bit. And he's a great follow. I mean, he does a lot of great stuff online, in snippets like we do, with podcasts and all that kind of stuff. But he's just a terrific follow, very knowledgeable guy. This portion of the program brought to you by our great friends at Sobelman's. By the way, Sobelman's, in their old fashions, they are only using now the local stuff. And I love it. I love that Dave decided to do that. He has gone strictly with the Barron's, Charlie Barron's, local beverages. So they're doing that for the old fashions and the brandies and all that kind of good stuff. So Sobelman's Pub and Grill taking a step from us, and they're going all local all the time, and they're supporting the local brands. Sobelman's Pub and Grill, 27 plus years in Milwaukee on St. Paul Avenue. If you're going down to Summerfest or a Brewers game, stop by. Tell Dave and Annie and everybody over there hello on those big burgers and those brioche buns. They're fantastic. Or in Waukesha on William Street, for that matter. Both places fantastic. Sobelman's Pub and Grill, a great place to meet, a great place to hang out.
Meet at Sobelman's.
Milwaukee and Waukesha.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Hey, Chuck, tell the people of Madison why DLC is amazing.
For 28 years, we've had one simple, transparent signature loan for up to $5,000 that we process in less than an hour. We lend cash at our local locations or electronic instant funding at don'tbebroke.com. It's always free to apply, and some folks just want to find out how much they qualify for so they know later down the line when they need the cash. We don't require good credit, collateral, or a checking account. We lend more, charge less, and allow the customers longer to pay the money back. At Dollar Loan Center, we'd love to say yes. Oh yeah, new customers get their first week's interest free, and the daily interest rate on a $500 loan, it's just $3.78. You can do the math from there.
Well put, Chuck. That was a lot. You can find everything at don'tbebroke.com.
License and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. In and out based on biweekly pay frequency with 10% rated 275%. For additional cost information, call 866-550-4352. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. How we looking? Thursday edition. 2 hours down. That's fast, man. Bam. 2 hours. Hey, I want to remind you, Home Field Pub and Social. We're going to be in Titletown this year. I'm not trying to get to football season soon, okay? I'm loving summer. We're just starting this, man. But once we get to wintertime, how are we looking? We're going to be in Titletown, the official home of the Green and Gold postgame show. It's at Home Field Pub and Social, the restaurant, the Top Golf, the swing suites, everything, simulators, great food. Big screen TVs all over the place. If there's a place you're going to go before and after the game, make sure it's Home Field Pub and Social. We're going to be there, and we're looking forward to seeing you there as well. And if you're going to go there for Brewers games, World Cup, whatever it happens to be, just go enjoy yourself. I highly, highly recommend it. It's a night out. It's a fun night. Fun night. Rent yourself a swing suite, and you are good to go. That's our friends at Home Field Pub and Social. Mo Edgar, him and I, we will text back and forth online. Some of the longest text messages in the history of text messaging. We'll go back and forth between Mo and I, because it's that kind of discussion at times. Sometimes it's about just, good cigars, or, when he's eating at a Skyline, like which one are you going to, or if he's eating at one of the old haunts, so to speak. But for the most part, and he'll ask me every now and then, like, hey, I might be coming up during the Red Series. Because I always ask him, man, come on up, hang out at the house, just come on up, do your show here.
Sounds, I was just going to say, sounds like those conversations put ours to shame. The only thing I sent you last night was the Reds are embarrassing, LOL.
Yes,
and that's
right. I agree. I completely agree.
To the point.
I completely agree. Terrible. All right, let's do this. We got 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Don't go anywhere, my friends. We'll be back coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are back in Milwaukee. That's after finishing off a sweep of Cincinnati last night with a 6-5 win. They're getting the day off before opening up a series against the Cubs tomorrow night at American Family Field. Milwaukee's lead in the NL Central stands at 7 games on the Cubs and the Cardinals. The Crew, a season-high 20 games above 500. Chicago's played better of late, winning 9 of 12. Turning to the Bucks, the NBA draft is in the books. Milwaukee added 3 players over the 2 days, taking Arizona guard Braden Berries with the 10th overall pick, Tennessee forward Nate Ahmet with the 13th overall pick, and then grabbing forward Malik Lewis with the final pick of the draft last night. The 3 form the beginning of the next era for Bucks basketball following the trade of Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's big shoes to fill, but Ahmet's not worried about it.
I mean, I really wouldn't say it's so much extra pressure. Obviously, we're stepping into me, and luckily I'm not going at it alone. I got another top 10 draft pick, Braden Berries, who's a tremendous player, and I'm excited to get to learn with him. But I think that's just, if I want, it's just a tremendous opportunity for me and for Braden. So if anything, I see it as opportunity and not as pressure.
Bucks will be getting to see their new players in action when Summer League gets going early next month.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella-certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Well, we're about a month out from the start of Packers training camp. The NFL announced earlier this week that rookies would report July 27th, veterans on July 28th, and the first practice would be on July 29th. A total of 12 practices will be open to the public up in Green Bay. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Bill Michaels Show. Just past the halfway points. We're so happy to be here on this Thursday. Beautiful day. Got bike night down at the Harley-Davidson Museum coming up tonight. Summerfest is in swing. Brewers are off tonight. Back at it tomorrow as the Cubs come to town. Yes, still have the I-94 rivalry series here back behind me over on the table here. If you want to chime in and you can track us down, you can do so. 877-867-1670. Text us 608-321-1670. Go to YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. YouTube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find Grant at Wisco Grant. We're on the app, Wisco Sports Zone. That's Wisco Sports Zone. You can email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website, simply thebillmichaels.com. Same thing for the Bill Michaels Show on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And we did gain a couple of followers during the show. Thank you for following us over there on Instagram. I always appreciate that. We had Steve Smith, who joined us, Law Dog today. Patrick Driscoll joined us today. So over there on Instagram. So everybody. Skydive 1. So all of you. Thanks for hanging out with us on Instagram. We always appreciate that. You can track us down on TikTok and over on Twitch, Kick, LinkedIn. Catch the program as well on My24 TV in Milwaukee, right? My24 TV in Milwaukee, 8 o'clock Central Time on Saturday nights. That is the place you can find us. So there you go. Okay, so I want to go back to the discussion regarding Christian Yelich. So I want to get into that. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get into some of the thoughts there because there's a lot of people that chimed in email-wise and text message-wise. And also the phone lines, they're wide open. Let's go to Trell on the north side. Trell, how you doing, man? What's going on today?
This is actually Corey out of Marshall.
Oh, Corey out of Marshall. Okay.
Well, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Corey. That's my bad. Go ahead.
That's okay. I didn't end up talking to you anyways, Grant, so I wouldn't expect your ESP to work, so no big deal. Just the discussion here regarding what the Brewers really need, the DHing of Yelich, just kind of like in general here, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
I've had this discussion with Grant before. Like the Brewers are like an 80% team, 85% team, as in they can be 80 to 85% of the MLB on the regular, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
As you discussed, the issue comes down to like that top 10%. So like if you're saying a percentage of like making the World Series, it's going to be probably 10 to 15% because to get my logic maybe doesn't work there, but that's kind of my take. Like they're going to have to be able to come up with, a homer against the Dodgers that nets you 3 runs versus 5 doubles in a row or 6 singles in a row because they're just going to roll out nameless pitchers from your bullpen. We saw last year. I mean, the guy almost threw a perfect game though, so maybe it doesn't matter. So if there was no like limit on, if we're just totally spitballing, like, hey, who could they get? And there's no limit on prospects, whatever. You'd want to get like a Yordan Alvarez from the Astros or like some high-level guy that can come in and immediately give you offense. I was just reading kind of trade prospects now. It's just starting to come out now from MLB rumors. So maybe I'll have a better idea because they're putting out some big article today on it. Like a Byron Buxton from the Twins. He's having a good year, and the Twins are probably going nowhere fast.
Mm-hmm.
Something along those lines because I think their pitching staff, I think you might need another high-level I leverage like reliever, like for your middle innings kind of there, because we're kind of seeing a little bit of like that wear and tear like on Ashby kind of coming to the fore because of how much he got used earlier in the season. I think that would be like a secondary piece. I really do think, and I agree with Grant on this, and again, we've discussed this before, you're going to need a prototypical like couple pieces in your offense because you're going to need your 9 best guys. You can't be out there with 7-8 guys and 2 black holes like a Joey Ortiz and a Blake Perkins, which I don't know why he still gets starts in the center field, but we'll leave that for a different time. Maybe even a Sal Frelick because of for being replaced in right field from an offensive standpoint because he's more of a pop can hitter, not really too much power out there. You're looking for spots where you can add power. Those are a few that just kind of popped in my head. So that's all I got for you guys.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Nope. I'll let you go on. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. So, there's going to be a number of arms that are going to be available that may not be the Scubles of the world, but guys that are throwing well, that if indeed they come into this system with the way the Brewers are capable of tweaking pitchers and making them even a little bit better, or just giving you sustainability, that can help, no doubt. The question then becomes, if you have to choose one, what would it be? Because that may be all the Brewers are capable of choosing. And then it depends on, obviously, contractual situations and controllability and everything that goes along with it. I get that. But I'm torn because I also think you need somebody in the lineup that scares people, that you have to be very careful to pitch around. And thus, in essence, will make guys around them better. And that is not, usually that's your DH. That's not Christian Yelich right now. And in the postseason, specifically against the Dodgers, it's not been Christian Yelich. And I'm not, because some people are getting upset. I get he's a fan favorite. I understood. When he does well, everybody loves it. There's jubilation. He's a Brewer. I mean, there's an affinity in people's hearts for Christian Yelich. I understand that. It's a results-oriented business. You have to look at that. And is it Christian Yelich you need to think about? Or, much like he just said, do you need to move a Blake Perkins? Do you need to move a Joey Ortiz? Because offensively speaking, now you've seen Joey Ortiz, and you know me, his offense is terrible. But in the Red Series, he had 2 or 3 really big moments with the glove that saved runs, and then the opposite field fly ball, the sacrifice fly that drove in the game at the time winning run, then it ended up becoming the tying run because they gave up the extra run. But that extra run he drove in because of that piece of hitting, that was valuable. Now, one game does not a season make, and we've seen this far too often. But there is something to be said for keeping that ability on the roster. But I just don't know who you start moving around to get better, because everybody brings something, but they don't bring it consistently. And that's the problem. When you really start to think about gearing up for the post, because let's be honest, okay, you want to win in the postseason. It doesn't matter if the Cubs, the Phillies, the Braves, whoever. Okay, everybody, here you go. You're on this level playing field. But then there's the Dodgers. And you have to think about that team, because I know sometimes you just look at your own team. What can you get better? Well, that's fine. But the ultimate giant Goliath standing over there in the corner is the Dodgers. And you're going to the postseason. You've done extremely well. Unless the wheels completely fall off, you're going to the postseason. But that's the team you're targeting. That's the team you haven't had success with. That's the team that has held you down offensively in the postseason. That's your target. So what do? Is it more about the arm and shutting them down? Or is it more about the extra bat that may help you when you get to the postseason? And there's no guarantees here. But the other thing, going back to what was stated earlier, and when we had the text line going, and looking at who made the comment about Suarez last year going to Seattle? Anyway, long story short is sometimes maybe he went to the wrong team. Maybe it wasn't about going to Seattle. Maybe it just wasn't a great culture there. But coming in, look at what's happened to Vaughn since coming into this clubhouse. Look at what's happened to other guys when they get brought into this organization and how they've excelled. There's something there. You know, like it was Aaron in Marshfield who said Suarez was the big fish at the deadline last year and he ended up going to Seattle and laid an egg. Yeah, but maybe he just didn't go to the right team. Doesn't mean you don't take a swing at it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's go to Mitch listening to us in Rice Lake. Mitch, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Good, Bill. How you doing?
Good. What's happening?
Well, I mean, listening to your guys' conversations and stuff and things, I completely agree with you with Yelich. There's something wrong right now with him. And I think even sitting him, seeing if he can get the power back, see if he can get the bat back, the eyes, everything, that might be a good idea. I don't know what you do to fill that, though. I really don't, unless you pick somebody up. But I think if the Brewers were to add something, I think adding high starting quality pitcher would probably be the way to go. Just because, in my opinion, good pitching always beats good batting.
Mm-hmm.
And I would rather be a pitcher's duel in the playoffs, if need be, versus 10 to 7 game type deal.
Right.
I'd rather see it as a pitching duel. I just think that's the way I always think in terms of baseball, playoff baseball particularly.
Usually you're right. And I can't argue with that because it's an old adage for a reason, because it probably holds true more often than not. It's just that the bugaboo has been the ability to score runs when the Brewers get to the postseason against the Dodgers. But I agree. Look, I think they're going to go for an arm. That's me personally. I think that's what they're going to end up doing. And that very well may happen. But there's something about me that I keep going back to. They need somebody in the lineup that is going to make people around that particular player better in some way, shape, or form. And I just don't know if they have that right now. Who do you fear in this team at the plate?
Nobody.
Right.
And that's where I agree with you, but I don't know. I guess my gut says pitching would be the way to go, but I could easily. I'm like you, 50-50 with it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I wouldn't be wrong. I wouldn't be wrong in saying hitting. I mean, it could go either way. I would like to see both. I just don't think they have enough to get that. I mean, if they did, that'd be great, but I just don't see it.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that too. That's the other thing, is what is gettable. Appreciate the phone call. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, I guess we could put a poll out and say, if you had to pick one or the other, which way would you go? Would you get a bat or would you get an arm? No guarantee on either. But which way would you go? I think you'd probably, the more reliable, the more controllable would be the arm. For most people anyway.
I just wonder, Bill, let me ask you this. So in order to prognosticate the Brewers being good in the playoffs, we kind of just have to assume Miz and Harrison are going to be awesome, and we have to write that in pen, right? Like that's part of the math. So then we're talking about basically the third starter, because in a playoff series, you're really only using 3, maybe 4 guys. Do you think the Brewers, let's consider this and try to come at it from the perspective of the Brewers. Do you think the Brewers think that they can improve that much in that third starter spot by acquiring a guy versus where they think either Brandon Woodruff or maybe even Brandon Sproat will be in 2 months? You know what I mean? Like, do you think the Brewers, do you think they believe that there's a possible upgrade that's worth the price they'd have to pay? Because I bet the Brewers internally think, man, if Woodruff's healthy, he's that third starter.
That's it. Yeah.
And I think internally, and I get it a little bit even from what we've seen recently, I think they think Brandon Sproat is on the right track. So what advantage are you really buying yourself? Probably spending a good amount of capital to get a third starter. What advantage are you really finding with that guy, whoever that would be, compared to what you might already have percolating in your system with guys who are either developing or getting healthy?
I think exactly what you stated. I think you believe you have 2 sure things. And if you hedge your bets for the third and say Sproat and Woodruff and whoever you bring in all work out, then you're loaded. Especially when you go to the 4-man rotation, because then somebody can obviously come out of the pen if need be. And that strengthens your pen because that makes your middle relief that much better. And it really takes the alleviation away from the back end of the bullpen. So I think you can do that. But your biggest question was if Woodruff's healthy, because we've been down this road before. I mean, and his history would tell you he's not. So that's why I still think you could ask that question and go, okay, let me answer my own question. Because it's a big if.
Even if Sproat we'll put it this way. let's say Sproat stinks, and what we've seen recently is just a blip, and he's not a guy that you can trust. And let's say Brandon Woodruff gets hurt. So you're really a two-starter team with Miz and Harrison. Right. You're still 100 times better position than you were last year. You were basically a one-starter team in the postseason last year. It was Peralta, who was fine. So even if the worst-case scenario happens and you're not able to find a third starter internally, you're still in such a much better spot than you were last year when you already made it to the NLCS.
And the funny thing is, we may be having an entirely different conversation a month from now. Because, say, like you said, Sproat comes on, Woodruff's gotten into a groove, everything is great.
Henderson comes back, it could be awesome. He was really good before he got hurt.
Suddenly Lockridge is back, and we may be saying there's no reason to make a trade. We've seen Christian Yelich, who all of a sudden goes in spurts, and suddenly he starts popping 6 home runs in a matter of 2 weeks, and because we've seen it. So we may be having an entirely different conversation. This is a lot of hypothetical what ifs right now as we sit here today, but we may have an entirely different discussion a month from now as the trade deadline really begins to heat up. But if I had to sit here today and make a choice, like I said, there's no wrong answer. I just think you need somebody in the lineup that is going to scare somebody. Where you just have to be really careful, that you're going to have to really pick the corners. You're going to have to take your chances and hope they go fishing for somebody that may not go fishing. And therefore the people around them, either in front of them or behind them, get better. And that's what I'm kind of leaning towards. But if you said to me, hey, we got to really make sure that we have another arm, then I would say, by all means, go for it. Because I can't argue that. For all the reasons you just gave me, you're 100% correct.
I'm not trying to interrupt you. I wish they had, I wish they had 5 more stud at bats. We're comparing the Brewers with the Dodgers. So let's be real. They could go out and get the best available bat at the deadline, and they're still drawing, as significant underdogs to the Dodgers. Yep. So we're talking about, you got to compete with the Dodgers. They can try to improve here and there, but there's no amount of money or prospect capital they can spend to put themselves on even footing.
Exactly.
But so while recognizing that, I would love one other bat in this lineup where you have to plan for that guy.
Yeah.
He's coming up next inning. How are we going to navigate? And they don't really have any of those guys. Contreras is nice. I can nitpick that player. Yelich hasn't done anything in the postseason. He looks bad this year. Churio showed up in the playoffs. That's one guy who I look at as like, I expect him to be there and to meet the moment. Other than that, like, this lineup is a lot of question marks, and question marks typically don't go your way when they're going up against Yamamoto, Ohtani, Glasnow.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, those go either way guys typically don't go your way when they're seeing those type of pitchers.
100%. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. 877-867-1670. Our friends in Marinette, Wisconsin, reminding you they've got a lot of good stuff coming up. The Heritage Festival is right around the corner, celebrating their logging heritage up there. Stevenson Island, they're going to have all kinds of things going on. They're going to have music. The Eagles tribute band is going to be up there, which is really, really cool. And they're going to be there playing on that Friday night. They just wrapped up all the hydroplane racing for the Rumble on the River, and now they're getting into the next season, which is July 10th, 11th, and 12th. And that's the 3-day festival, and it celebrates all the logging heritage up there in Marinette, Wisconsin. Hotel California is going to put on a free concert that Friday night. Then Saturday it opens up. They've got the 5K run walk and so many other things for families and for fun and beverage, like we all do. Fireworks and everything that coming that night. The Lumberjack show is going to take place. They've got the car show and the parade on Sunday. Good things happening up in Marinette, Wisconsin. All you got to do is go and discover it. By the way, discovermarinette.com. That is discovermarinette.com. I'm telling you, the winery's on your way up. Stop in Peshtigo at Forgotten Fire Winery. They got good food, new restaurants. They're redoing downtown. So many reasons to check out Marinette, Wisconsin. Go to discovermarinette.com. That is discovermarinette.com.
Truck drivers, don't miss out on the unmatched consistency of a Schneider driving job. With our industry-leading selection of driving options, you'll find a job with the freight, home time, and schedule you've been looking for. Plus, Schneider drivers operate state-of-the-art, well-maintained equipment and have access to award-winning benefits and a 24/7 support team. Don't wait. Find a job that offers the stability you need to fuel your career. Search jobs and apply today at schneiderjobs.com. That's schneiderjobs.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
He was sensational. He didn't have his best stuff. He didn't have his best command. Again, I credit William for getting us. We got out of how many jams there? Probably 2 or 3 jams. His pitch count was really high, but we needed his innings because we were depleted. That's why I say that 12th and 13th reliever have to be dependable because they're going to pitch in leverage sometimes, like happened tonight. And yeah, it's very scary.
Welcome back. That's our guy, Pat Murphy, on Drohan. Pitching staff has just been basically getting it done, for lack of a better term, which is nice. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do it. We certainly appreciate you kind of chiming in on the program. Hey, they had a really good night last night, though. The rain kind of held off. They got a few sprinkles. Everybody moved under the tarp, or onto the roof, I should say, and then back out. Wednesday Night Live was cranking. But this weekend, if you're heading down to the Summerfest grounds, or maybe you just want to stop and do something local, Third Ward Beer Garden at Catalano Square. We're going to be heading down there, too. I'll probably see you down there tomorrow, I know for sure. But we're going to be down at the Third Ward Beer Garden at Catalano Square probably tomorrow night, if we do indeed head down to Summerfest. So I'll see you down there, whether it's the local brews, the local wines, local Prosecco. They have all of that down there, and the outdoor kind of German-style beer garden, and really looking forward to it heading before or after Summerfest, because Summer Fun is back, and Third Ward Beer Garden and Wednesday Night Live at the Bud Pavilion at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. They are a part of it.
and we'll see you out there. Faux show. Hey, Grant, I was telling you before that I might be going down to Summerfest tomorrow night. Is there somebody you're going down to see? Are you're not going to Summerfest, are you, or are you?
Tomorrow night, yeah, but it'll be after. I have a rehearsal dinner in Milwaukee tomorrow night. Gotcha. So we're just going down for we're going to see Marcus King Band. I think they start at 10.
Okay.
So we're going to do a rehearsal dinner and then drinks, and then probably at we'll probably get there last minute, which means we'll be way in the back. But I like Marcus King Band. The Revivalists play tomorrow night too. I would go see them, but we're going to see Marcus King.
Okay, so June 25th, 26th, and 27th. Ed Sheeran is tonight. Cody Johnson is tomorrow night, and Post Malone is on Saturday night with Carter Faith. But I'm kind of like you. I'm looking at this going, there's Hailstorm. The one that I recognize is obviously 10,000 Maniacs. Big Daddy Kane going to be down there, by the way. I'm kind of looking through the rest of this and going, okay, well, all right. Lisa Loeb, although I listen to her more on XM radio when she's doing some of the what is it, pop rocks or whatever it is. But yeah, there's some of the local bands that I know. Bobby Friss is going to be down there. Greg Cook and the Cook Marshall Trio, they're going to be there.
That guy's a baller. I didn't know he's going to be down there tomorrow night.
Yeah, he's going to be down there, Greg. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, well, there's going to be some music down there. Vertical Horizon, I do know. They're going to be there.
Little Feat's playing on Saturday? Like the Little Feat?
I guess.
I mean, it's not all the same. A lot of members have died.
They're all from 1961. They're all dead.
George died in 1970 somewhere, but I would see them too.
So there's a few things to kind of get excited about down there, I guess. So yeah, be doing that. There you go. Got emails to get to. Our buddy Steve says, nice sweep by the Brewers. They are enjoying the much deserved and needed day off before that stretch of 18 games in 17 days. In my opinion, it would be best not to get another postponement during this stretch. You want to preserve a few days off that you get for the remainder of the season. They are starting the Miz, Harrison, and the Big Woo against the Cubs. How sweet it would be for them to get 2 out of 3 or sweep them back to Chicago. What a mess the Lions are now with Terrion Arnold in that situation. I read he might get life in prison for this. What an absolute turd he is. That could be devastating, a hit to the Lions in their secondary. Have a great Thursday. Yeah, if you're just tuning in and you haven't read this yet, but yeah, the Terrion, man, I tell you this, it's much like when you read the stuff against Josh Jacobs. The difference is Terrion Arnold is now facing multiple felony charges. He has been charged. He was arrested yesterday in Tampa, Florida. It's a robbery and kidnapping going back to early February. Police say he was the primary conspirator. He's accused of coordinating and directing the co-defendants to lure 3 men to an apartment where they then beat the hell out of them, basically. Arnold turned himself in yesterday. He was taken into custody, and he faces 4 counts of kidnapping, 4 counts of armed robbery, which carry the potential sentence of life in prison. He is scheduled to appear in Hillsborough County Court today. According to the police investigation, the incident began after a personal property belonging to Arnold and others was stolen back in February 1st from an Airbnb that Arnold rented in Largo, Florida. Periodically, he stayed there with the 6 co-defendants. And it was a couple of women, as a matter of fact, Ariana Del Valle, Jasmine Randazzo, Lindell Hudson, Christian Williams, Boaki Hilton, and Freddie Lee Hughes, and some other friends. They all stayed there. Arnold, Hughes, Hilton, and others reported property loss totaling more than $250,000. So basically, somebody came into the Airbnb and stole their stuff, stole their jewelry and such. And so they suspected that 2 of the 3 victims in the kidnapping case were responsible for the Airbnb robbery. Now, the state's attorney in its release accused Arnold of then orchestrating them, the other people that were involved in this, and basically kidnapping the people that they thought robbed the place. And they located a group chat in which Arnold and Hilton reportedly gave the directions to Del Valle, Williams, and Hudson during the assault in the apartment. So it's just, man, Now, Terry and Arnold, his people categorically deny any involvement in the matter and the underlying allegations made against him, and maintains his innocence and yada, yada, yada. They look forward to clearing his name and his day in court, all that kind of stuff. But, Arnold apparently thought he knew who robbed him. They got him together. They went and coordinated this, hey, here's where we're going to meet up, got them into an apartment, and then basically pummeled these people for robbing them, of which then they turned around and filed the charges against them. So how would you like that, though? You not only do you allegedly steal from them, then you get the hell beat out of you, and then you get them charged for beating you up for stealing their property. Only in America, baby. Only in America. But that's what's happened over there with the Lions, and that's what's going on right now. So, in Florida, as Mike says, he might actually face punishment. Now, if they've got enough evidence, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, do it. Our friends over there at Big Boy. I didn't get a chance to stop in and really eat yesterday. I did on my way out there, stopped over there in West Salem, ran in real quick to a Big Boy barbecue, and I got a jar of the sweet and spicy barbecue sauce because I love that stuff. So I picked a jar of that up on my way in. That was the only thing I had a chance to stop at, is because it's right off the highway. So I stopped at Big Boy Barbecue, and I stopped in and got a jar. I didn't get a chance to eat because I knew I was going to eat dinner, but I knew they'd be closed when I would leave. So I stopped there on my way in at about 4:45 and just grabbed a jar and just in and out, shook out. There was one person there that kind of said, "Hey, Bill Michaels." I said, "Yeah." Hey, shook the hand, listens every day over there in WKTY in La Crosse. But I got a chance to go in and say hi to the gang at Big Boar, and then off I went. But if you're heading out, great barbecue. The sauce, I love. The sweet and spicy is fantastic. They got some stuff that's like spicy hot. Oh, if you're into that, that's really, really good too. But Big Boar Barbecue, full menu. Go to Big Boar, BOAR, BigBoarBBQ.com. That is BigBoarBBQ.com. Lunches, dinners, catering, breakfast now as well. Right there in West Salem, Wisconsin, just a little bit northeast of downtown La Crosse. It is worth the drive. Really good stuff. And it's family owned. 3 brothers own it. Carter and his guys. Say hi to them when you walk through the door and tell them we sent you. BigBoarBBQ.com.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. It looks like you have some fancy new locations around Madison.
Yes, sir. We're open in Madison on the corner of East Washington and Hagen Drive. And we're also now open in Janesville and Beaver Dam. We're in Beloit and coming soon to Sun Prairie. But the best part is saving the drive altogether and applying from the comfort of your couch at don'tbebroke.com.
I kind of like stopping by.
Good call. And it's really worth the drive. We've been processing our $5,000 short-term loans over 28 years, and our customers just love doing business with the DLC. In nearly every instance, we're around half the cost of the payday and title lenders.
Dollar Loan Center loves Madison and lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by in Janesville, Beloit, Beaver Dam, and coming soon to Sun Prairie. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Gonna be doing a little grilling this weekend, a little tailgating down at the ballpark. You got to stop at Robert's. Robert's Specialty Meats in Waukesha. Robert's got something for everybody. They got the ribs on the stick, which was a huge hit last weekend up at Road America for those that came by and grabbed some. Then you got the garlic parm chicken skewers. Those are awesome. Al Capone roasts, Al Capone sausages, the spicy hot Italians. Kristen loves them. Me, I got to wear asbestos underwear when it happens, but I've eaten those. They're good. They're really good. Then we had the jalapeno brats. We had the jalapeno cheddar brats. We had the beer brats, the pre-made burgers, the big half-pound burgers with the extra cheese in them. Oh, those were so good. So good. Great stuff. Something for everybody. And the New York strip steaks is what we grilled up for a couple of people as well. And those were awesome. Those got rave reviews as well. And all I did was salt and pepper those things.
So you just put them right on the grill, sear them up both sides, let them sit on low for a little while, and bam, you got yourself a perfect steak. It's just awesome. Good stuff from Robert Specialty Meats in Waukesha on Sunset Drive in Waukesha. Go to robertspecialtymeatswaukesha.com. That's robertspecialtymeatswaukesha.com. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free. Pat Murphy talking about his team. They swept the Reds. Now they get an off day. They're back at it again tomorrow. Here come the Cubs. This is Pat Murphy talking about his dudes.
Commended for the toughness they showed and the commitment. It's not easy calling pitches in that situation. And, we had our leverage pitchers down tonight. So Chad Patrick wasn't very sharp early. And then we were hoping he'd go 3. And then the other 2 guys we used, Grant and Craig, didn't get the job done. And, when you don't have your leverage leaders in there, you're susceptible. And the Reds are at home, and they got some momentum going, and usually that game goes the other way, especially with bases loaded, 1 out. But it comes down to one pitch. He made a pitch and hit a ball. Cooper made the play. Good experience for Cooper, and we turned 2.
And that Yohaning, obviously the location isn't what you want on the fastball. With him ahead in the count there, would you prefer him going to his better pitch of the changeup or something else?
I mean, you can question any pitch calling, whatever, anytime you want. The thing of it is he doesn't get swing and miss on that changeup. You know what I mean? So sometimes they're looking for that more than you think, and then you end up. Sometimes you can beat him with a heater, surprise him, even if it's a sprayed heater, But, he didn't execute tonight. He's been good up until now and didn't execute tonight.
What about how kind of Shane had to work around his own traffic and at least get you into the 5th?
He was sensational. He didn't have his best stuff. He didn't have his best command. Again, I credit William for getting us. We got out of how many jams there? Probably 2 or 3 jams. His pitch count was really high, but we needed his innings because we were depleted. That's why I say that 12th and 13th reliever have to be dependable because they're going to pitch in leverage sometimes, like happened tonight. And it's very scary.
What did you think of the quality of your at-bats tonight compared to
tonight's? I mean, it ebbed and flowed. We had good at-bats. William had a couple great at-bats. Vaughn had a great pinch hit. Bowers had a couple great at-bats. Terang had a couple good ones. Yelly even had a couple good ones there, and he hasn't been getting the results. But Frelick had a good at bat. Mitchell had 2 good at bats, but you can't have. Churio had a couple. Yelich had 3. Terang had 3. Contreras had 4. Really, Contreras had 5 good at bats. Bowers had 3. Mitchell 2. Frelick 1. Pratt had 2. And like I mentioned, Vaughn, but we had good at bats, but we didn't do enough. We had plenty of other opportunity. Man, it's like a nobody out, just an empty inning. At least get the guy to third somehow. I was a little disappointed in overall, but give the guys a break. Trip and emotion one, and coming here in our division, it's always tough when it's the last 3 of the trip. But
When you went to Vaughn there, were you thinking they would just counter with the buddy?
Yeah, for sure.
That matchup played out in your favor then.
I was. There must be some reason for it, but I was shocked by it. Yeah.
What can you just say about the way Vaughn has stayed ready? The numbers
amazing. Kid's been amazing. Kid has been amazing. One of our most valuable players to this point since he's been healthy. He missed the first month, and to do what he's doing, probably 120 plate appearances. It's been unbelievable. And he's done it against righties and lefties, and he's done it at all different times. He gives you quality at bat. And unless that better matchup, meaning the left versus right or right versus left, unless that at bat is giving you better at bats, why not go with him? So I'm getting close to that.
There you go. That's our guy Murph. Getting close to that. Got to get the at bats. Got to get the wins. And I love the fact that he's very honest about it. Love the fact that he's very honest about it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, give us a shout, but they off today. The Brewers are off today, back at it again tomorrow, and then here come the Cubs for a 3-game series this coming weekend down in American Family Field. Let's do this. We'll break. We'll come back. I got more emails to get to, more texts to get to, your phone calls to get to. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. They're racing again this weekend. Speaking of Road America from earlier. Vintage Weekend, Trans Ams are coming to town. Vintage Weekend next up on the docket after that. Then IMSA towards the end of July. But Trans Am is coming to town this weekend, the Trans Am Series, and that is always fun. If you're thinking about anything for the remainder of the season, there's still some season passes, corporate sponsorships, on-site camping. And for IMSA, I'm telling you, you're going to want to be a part of that. All at Road America. Go to roadamerica.com. That is roadamerica.com. Or call them direct for tickets or information. 800-365-7223. 800-365-7223. Road America, that is your national park of speed. There you go. Love that stuff. Got some more, let's see here, emails and such to get to. This one
Let's see here real quick. Where'd it go? Okay, Aaron says, one day Brewers fans are going to be asking for a bat. Another day they're asking for a bullpen arm. Yet another day we want a starting pitcher. They need all three. You pull out all the stops if you actually want to win a World Series. When you think you have arrived with the talent that you have, make an attempt to double it. You leave nothing to chance. Get another top starting pitcher, get a power bat, get a bullpen arm. And if you are winning a World Series, as long as you stay healthy, that can happen. I know it sounds like a lot, but the Dodgers have 3+ MVP award winners in their lineup. It's not possible for the Brewers to do, quote, too much. That's a great point. That's basically saying, look, I am pushing all my chips to the middle of the table. If we're going to compete, we're not going to compete a little. You can't be a little bit pregnant. You either are or you aren't. Are you in or you're not? You can try to bolster yourself. And, now granted, you got to find two to tango. You don't want to give up the entire, system. You want to hedge your bets for, later years. But that's basically saying, hey, look, this is really what you need. Here's the bottom line. Some guys aren't performing. You need a bat. You need another arm in the middle relief. And you need a starting pitcher. Maybe if you get a starting pitcher and other guys work out, well, then you can move somebody to the pen. That kind of takes care of the middle relief portion of it. But there's nothing wrong with doing more than what you think you need if you're going to push all your chips to the middle of the table. That's a great point. And I would not disagree with that, to be honest with you. David says, any news on Murph's surgery? As far as we know, it's going to happen during the All-Star break. So, and with hip stuff, they get you back up and around the next day. So I have not heard anything else regarding that, but that's the last that I heard. So hopefully that helps. 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, feel free. This one is from Mark. Mark says, I feel like the Brewers are right there on the cusp. I feel like they need another arm. Everybody talks about another bat. Maybe the bats will come around. But I think they need another arm. You can never have too much really good pitching to shut down the other team. At least then you have a legitimate shot at keeping up with them if you get some key hits to drop and a couple of key moments in the ball game. If you don't have good pitching, though, all you're trying to do is outrun a team that's running faster than you. Appreciate the email. I don't know if I feel good. I mean, well, I guess you got to, because you got to feel good about hope, right? You got to have hope. You got to say, well, I hope they can do this, and I hope they can put this ball in play, and I hope they can get a couple of key hits, and I hope that's what you do, right? I would agree. Mark says, how many people are going to come to town and go to Summerfest, go to the Brewers game, and then go visit the Bronze Fonz? Is that really a destination? It is. I don't know where that question came from, to be perfectly honest with you, but it is. It's a really, you can go downtown almost on any given day when there's something, going on in town, and there's always going to be somebody walking over there taking a picture with the Bronze Fonz. It's a destination, man. It's a destination. Out of the 608, with regards to the Brewers, every team slumps a little, and even in their slump, they still had winning road trips. They still are in the top 5 in every offensive category. How exactly do you think they're going to improve? Exactly how I said. Tell me this right now, out of the 608, whoever this is. Who do you fear? Who do you fear in this lineup? I'll wait. Text me. Greg in Green Bay. The problem with getting a bat is they are more than just one bat away. They are multiple offensive pieces away from having a sustainable offense in the playoffs. With that logic, I would go get an arm, because you can't lose a game if you don't give up a run. True. But again, you can make people around you better getting a bat. And again, there's no wrong answer here, to be perfectly honest with you.
And I think trying to win playoff games 2-1 and 1-0 is, I just think that's a really difficult way to go about it. You don't need to score 7-8 runs a game, but just saying, well, we'll just, we'll shut everybody down with pitching and we'll win game every 2-1. It's just a lot of pressure on your defense, a lot of pressure on your bullpen. I just think it's difficult.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And but by the way, you might need to win a game 2-1, and one of those 2 runs that you score is a solo shot from a big bat that you acquired. You know what I mean? That's the way it could go too. But I think factoring in winning really, really close, low scoring games is tough.
Especially when you've got and again, this is all geared towards the Dodgers, but when you got a team that in any portion of that lineup can power the ball. I mean, Freddie Freeman was an animal in the postseason last year. That's taking Ohtani out of things because he finally started to hit. Remember, he led off one of the games against Freddie Peralta with a home run, like 1 or 2 games. He led it off with a home run. But Freddie Freeman was an animal last year. He was a one-man wrecking crew, and you don't have that in your lineup. But again, if you have a guy like that, the guy in front of him and the guy behind him, it changes the complexity of the at-bats for them because either you don't want to face them with runners in scoring position or runners on, or you'd rather pitch to them and give them good pitches if you put him on. But and again, like I said, there's no wrong answer here. We're just strategizing. And like I said, this conversation could be completely different in a month because say Sal Frelick just, time away, he starts hitting the baseball. He starts getting on. Say Vaughn all of a sudden finds a little bit more power, Bryce Terang goes back to being the guy that started off the season so incredibly hot. Christian Yelich comes around. Cooper Pratt starts giving you the numbers. And then all of a sudden you went from a team that was somewhat an offensive anemic team to a team that is just now beating the hell out of the baseball and putting runners in scoring position, and they're moving station to station. They're dropping down bunts and hitting sacrifice flies, and they're scoring 5, 6, 7 runs a game. And, and your pitching staff then could still use the arm. So we could be having a completely different conversation in a month. Be a great problem to have. I'll say that. That's for sure. And real quick, this is from D. D says, I think we're all barking up the wrong tree right now. Let's just wait and see what Matt Arnold decides to do. We all know that we trust in Matt Arnold. So whatever he does, we figure it's going to be the right move. The question is going to be not whether it's the right move, as to whether it is the only move. That is what we were talking about too. It's like going back to what Aaron said in his email. Do they need more than just one move? I don't know. I've got, real quick, this is the grass guy. The grass guy says, hey, Bill, I'm a believer, period, end of story. I think this team can win. I think they can beat anybody at any point in time. It's just whether or not the bats actually go silent. If they continue to work the count and they're aggressive, well, you can't be both. You're either aggressive or you're not. If you're working the count, you're not aggressive. If you're aggressive, you're basically banging on the first pitch. But he says, I think if they be aggressive and this team does what they do at the plate, they're going to be just fine. Averaging 3.5 to 4 runs a game should be enough for this team to get more than 4 wins in a series. Well, if you get more than 4 wins in a series, you've won the series or more. I think this is going to be okay. I'm a believer in the Brew Crew. Go Matt Arnold. Go Pat Murphy. Go Christian Yelich. Finally pick up where you left off from last year. Before the end of the regular season came about, because you were pounding the baseball at that point. We had a lot of high hopes. Let's just hope that it happens again. That's the grass guy. Grass guy, I think you're sniffing a few clippings, but that's okay. To have faith and hope, hell yeah, I'll take it. Good stuff. All right. We got another hour yet to go. Hang in there. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. A lot more. Stay tuned. We got more after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers finished off a sweep of the Reds last night in Cincinnati. Milwaukee led 6-1 at one point, but needed a double play with the bases loaded to preserve a 6-5 win. Milwaukee did get a 2-run homer from William Contreras. The very next at-bat, Jake Bauers drilled a solo shot for his 13th on the season. Andrew Vaughn seemingly broke the game open in the 7th with a 3-run double before the Reds made their late charge. Shane Drohan was good in his start, going 4 to third innings without giving up a run. Third straight game, the first starter did did not allow a run. The crew getting the day off before opening up a weekend series against the suddenly formidable Cubs, who have won 9 of 12 and coming off a doubleheader sweep of the Mets yesterday. It left the Brewers sitting 7 games up on the Cardinals and the Cubs for first in the NL Central. Turning to the Bucs, their 2026 draft class is complete after adding Arizona guard Braden Berries and Tennessee forward Nate Ahmet in the first round on Tuesday. They traded into the second round to grab forward Malik Lewis with the final pick of the draft. The 21-year-old spent the last 2 seasons playing in the NBL in Australia, where he averaged 6.9 points per game. The team will introduce Berries and Ahmet at a press conference this afternoon.
Everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences, now Abbott, has teamed up with UW Athletics to help promote cancer prevention and early detection. The Exact Sciences Athletes Program is unique as it connects UW student athletes with the company's work to provide breakthroughs in cancer care and treatment. UW student athletes helping raise cancer awareness to make a difference in the Madison community. Learn more at uwbadgers.com/Exact Sciences Athletes.
Well, at the World Cup, it's game day for the U.S. as they take on Turkey in the final group stage match. The Americans have already clinched the top spot in their group and a place in the knockout stage. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Kyle.
Another hour yet to go. The Bill Michaels Show. How are we looking? How are we looking? Hopefully you are enjoying this Thursday after the rains came and the storms came last night. Everything's kind of cleared out. Looks like the weather's going to be pretty good, especially if you're going to go festing this weekend or anywhere else in the state for that matter. Looks like everything's not going to be too bad. So I got a few hit or miss showers that are going to be happening, but beyond that, doesn't look too bad this weekend. Nothing severe anyway, so that's kind of good. Everybody gets a little bit of a reprieve. So good stuff there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can track us down. You can also find us, if you would choose to do so, over there on the text line, 608-321-1670. We are on YouTube each and every day. You can subscribe for free. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. We're on Twitter. We're on X at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. Find Grant at Wisco Grant. You can find us on the app, Wisco Sports Zone. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website, thebillmichaels.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, which the meter continues to move behind us. We gained a couple more today. We appreciate that. You can follow us on Instagram and on TikTok and on Facebook under The Bill Michaels Show. We're on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. And don't forget our television show airs on Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. We are on My24 TV in Milwaukee. My24 TV in Milwaukee. And I failed to mention it earlier, and thank you, Carl, for reminding me.
There's nothing like the view from the cheap seats.
Good day to all our cheap seaters. And Rick, it is good to have you back. Our buddy Rick Harris over there on the live stream. I don't know what he had going on medically, but people were talking about it yesterday on the air, so or on the stream. So glad to have you back. I saw you there earlier today. So hopefully, well, we know you're alive. So whatever it was, hopefully it's not too serious and you recover from the surgery and everything really, really quick. Out of the 715 going to the Brewers, he said, the one thing I fear in the postseason the most, I fear bases loaded with Joey Ortiz at the plate. There you go. Out of the 906 said, from what I read a couple of days ago, Murphy had something go wrong with his back, and he was having some back surgery on the off day and his hip surgery during the All-Star break.
He had something with a disc that he's doing today, and then I think he's having a hip replacement over the All-Star break.
Yeah. The hip replacement is what I heard, and they're going to, like, that night, like, get him right in the first day of the All-Star game, and then you're up and walking the next day or two. You're just sore because they get you right out of bed. It's like when I had my knee surgery. I went up to the Marshfield Clinic. They did my knee in the morning, and by 5 o'clock, they're knocking on the door going, okay, let's go. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And let's get up. Come on, let's go. Start walking. Let's move. and they're moving you around. Within 2 days, I was walking around, still on crutches, but I was walking around. I was good. I was ready to go. So now a hip replacement, that's a whole other ball game. That's a whole other ball game rather than an ACL and MCL. That's a whole other ball game. But he's going to do it. He's going to do it. Let's see here. The problem with getting a bat is they are more than just one bat away unit. What do you think the bats are going to look like if they go out and get two of them, not just one? I don't think they're going to get two. I don't think it's going to be a problem we're going to have to deal with. However, if you get two of them, you're probably looking for a third baseman and an outfielder. I think would be the obvious get. And even then, I don't, unless you just get two bats and you've either got a third baseman or an outfielder who then plays, say, right field in place of Sal Frelick. And then your other bat, do you dare turn around and go, Christian, thanks, but you're not that great right now. We're going to sit you down. And then have another guy that's a DH sitting on the bench. You're not going to do that. You're not going to, you're not going to option him. That's not going to happen. He doesn't have that. So that's why I think if they get a bat, it's going to be probably an infield bat. But the most likely thing for them to get, realistically, is going to be another arm. Realistically. That's just my thought. Eric in Green Bay says, going back to your discussion earlier, blackout blinds are life-changing. We were talking about, waking up to the sun. The only time I've ever had like blackout blinds is when I'm in the RV. That's it. And that's because you're laying with your face, you're next to the window. That's the only time I have ever had blackout blinds, just so you know. This is out of the 262 from earlier today. We were talking about the Badgers and signature wins, and he said, Illinois and Washington were not signature wins. What are you smoking? They were both ranked in the top 25 at the time.
The Washington win was pretty important at the time.
Yeah, it was. They were both ranked in the top 25 at the time.
I mean, the bar's been lowered. It wouldn't have been a signature win 8 years ago.
Right.
But for this program, what they've been doing the last couple of years, yeah.
But the argument was just get a top 25 win, and they did. You can't argue that. That's what they ended up.
We thought they were going to lose out. We thought they were going to lose like 10 straight to end at a certain point.
Those were, yes, they were signature wins because we kept saying you need a top 25 win, and they got it. And now you want to take it away from them because you don't feel like the opponent was that good. Well, they were top 25 at the time. There was a reason they were. It wasn't Michigan, it wasn't Ohio State. If you're setting the bar there, then okay, that's fine. But what we were talking about at the time on the show was you need top 25 wins. And they got them. And now you're saying, well, okay, but that's not enough. Well, you got to start somewhere. So it's not what am I smoking? They were top 25 wins. Period. End of story. Oh, let's see here. Johnny Cribbage says the Dodgers and the Pete Alonso complex is massive. Yeah. Can't argue that. Can't argue that.
Like Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso's on the Orioles.
I know. He was on the Orioles. But when he was playing for the Mets, that was when he delivers that knockout blow.
Oh, yeah.
I get it.
Well, yeah, you tend to remember the teams you lose to in the playoffs.
Right.
I don't know if that's a complex. That's just how it works.
The Pete Alonso thing is not a complex. That just happened. The Dodgers, that I can go along with. But the Pete Alonso thing, he came up in a big moment. The polar bear got one. Out of the 608, keep the top prospects, roll the dice with the team because the work stoppage is finally going to secure a salary cap, and all of baseball will be jealous of Matt Arnold and the Brewers with the top minor league farm system, and then a salary cap to go with it. Multiple options. That's from Greg. What really, when you think about a salary cap, if they do get one, it's not so much what you're going to eliminate from the Dodgers, but it's what others are going to gain. and I mentioned this the other day, there are 15, because the proposed salary cap and then floor was 250 and 150, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that what they're proposing? A $250 million salary cap and then a salary floor, I think, of 150 or something like that?
Sounds about right.
I think that's what it was. So if you look at the payroll and you look at the teams that are under 150, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, the Athletics, the A's, Colorado, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Washington, St. Louis, Chicago, the White Sox, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, and Miami. All of those teams will have to spend more money by a little or a lot. I mean, think about Miami. Miami's only spending $82 million. They would have to almost double their entire payroll just to get to the salary floor. Cleveland would have to spend $70 million to get there. The Rays would have to spend $50 million. The White Sox, $40 just to get there. So it would mean that the teams that are lesser right now seemingly would spend money on some of these free agent players, or they would have to re-sign their own to get to the salary floor, which means not just the Dodgers and the Mets and the Yankees and the Phillies and Toronto and Boston. There's a whole lot more teams below 150 than there are teams above 250. Because San Diego's right at 250. 6 teams above 250. And yet there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 teams below 150. So yes, there would be some contract finagling going on among the top 6, but it's the bottom 12 that you would assume would get better because they have to go out and spend more money. They would have to.
And I think that was part of the argument of, the owners. It's like, well, yeah, we're going to cut payroll by, whatever it would be, 500 combined million between the big boys. But we're going to pick that up on the other side by forcing all these other teams to spend, right? So you're not actually losing money. I think the math would shake out.
Right.
Actually make more. How these teams, so let's say the Pirates need to spend $80 million to get up to the threshold, right?
Right.
Just example, $50 million, nice round number. What if no one wants to go there? What if no free agents want to go there? Are they just compelled to spend more on the guys who are already there? I guess I would need to understand that a little bit.
Well, you would assume if you're a team that's, say, an $80 million payroll and you're going to upgrade and you're going to spend money and you're going to buy free agents, and that team would assumedly get better because you're actually now bidding on some of the talent that's out there that you have never bid on before just because you didn't want to, because you didn't want to spend the money.
Or you're spending, the counterpoint would be you're giving an inflated contract to a player that's not actually that good. So let's say the Brewers were going to sign Luis Renifo for $3 million, but because of the salary floor, they pay him $15 because they have to.
Well,
they're not getting better.
No, but then that's just bad management.
I would agree.
That's bad management. And that's where some of these teams would go, hey, we're spending more money and we're not getting anything. Well, you're a dumbass. You got a general manager who's out there spending money on crap. So then you fire your staff. Don't complain about the system. Get better people in place. They're going to give you more bites at the apple with better talent because you're an idiot. You went out and spent the money on Renifo when you should have never done that. I get what you're saying, but if you do that, well, that's just because you have dumb people in place.
Well, sure. So you could say, well, instead of Renifo, you should have spent it on someone good like Suarez.
Right.
But what if Suarez was only going to Cincinnati? So I don't know. These are details that would have to be shaken out in a salary floor system. I think we're going to get it.
And I also think, though, but if you've got high talented players that are out there looking for money, first of all, money talks. Secondly, if they can't, because of salary cap ramifications, if they can't go to the Dodgers and they can't go to the Phillies and they can't go to the Yankees and the Mets and the Toronto Blue Jays and Boston and such, and even San Diego would be close to being over, and so would Atlanta. If they can't go to those teams, they have to go to other teams. Otherwise, you don't play because the top teams that are the talented teams that are the money teams in baseball, that are the winning teams in baseball, they may not even have room for you. So your choice is either you go to some of these teams and you hope that they get better, or you don't play. Or maybe a team like, Milwaukee swoops in and grabs you in the middle, and then they get even better, but then they start to press up against the salary cap, which will never happen in Milwaukee. But they get even better, and those other teams are still left. I agree with you. It can be a real kind of a crapshoot, but we see the same thing going on in the NFL, where teams are like, we don't have the money. We can't afford you. So a guy has to go someplace. He has to play for somebody where they hope they get better. And that's when you start to look at management and go, well, if this is what you're doing, if this is your methodology to spend money just to spend money, rather than just truly get better, well, then you need a new general manager. So, but I get it. I get what you're saying, because it could leave some of these lesser teams in the lurch, so to speak. Let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Stay tuned. I want to remind you, Conversations for a Cause with the Brewers manager, Pat Murphy. So he'll be basically the bionic man taking the stage in September 10th from 5 to 9, Thursday night. Pat's going to be there at the River Club of Mequon. Looking forward to it. Tickets are still available. There's not many. There's only 32 left. I just got another update about 20 minutes ago. But there's only 32 tickets left. Out of 150 tickets, 32 are left. Big unit. And if you want to sponsor a table, you get 10 of them. So think about that. You get 10 tickets with that sponsorship, with different levels of sponsorship. So think about it. But nevertheless, it's Conversations for a Cause with Pat Murphy, Thursday night, September 10th at the River Club of Mequon. We're going to have a great night. You're going to have a great cocktail hour. If you want to smoke some cigars are brought to you by our friends at Quick Spirits. They're going to be giving them away. You got dinner, different stations to go to, tables to sit at, and then the meet and greet with Pat Murphy, if you have the VIP tickets, are better. Or if you're just going to sit down and take a listen. Myself and Pat are going to be on the stage for about 20 minutes, and after that, it's going to be questions from you. He'll talk to you. So it's going to be an intimate evening with Pat Murphy. It's called Conversations for a Cause. All the money raised goes to Big Unit Foundation, helping military members, veterans, first responders, and their families. Go to bigunitfoundation.com. That's bigunitfoundation.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Greg is the master electrician at allnationssolar.electric.com. And if you're in the Fox Valley or northeastern Wisconsin and you got a switch that's acting up, you got some flickering lights, and you're like, man, is my house going to burn down? Maybe there's just some things like, there's a lot of things I can do. I can build a door frame. I can replace drywall. I can do a lot of things. I don't mess with electric. I just don't. Otherwise, I'm one of those people that if I do some electrical wiring, I can hear it talking to me in the wall, and I can't sleep at night. So, man, I leave that to the professionals. Call the master electrician. Greg is at 920-661-7577, 920-661-7577. And if you're looking for, like I said, like a switch that needs to be fixed, or maybe a GFI circuit that keeps popping, you don't know why, if you need something in your house that's flickering to be looked at, or maybe you just want to go off grid and you want to go to the solar side of things, do it. But call our friends at All Nations Solar Electric, allnationssolar.electric.com. But you can call the master electrician, Greg, at 920-661-7577, 920-661-7577. And get a hold of Greg and just say, hey, this what's going on? This is what I need, whether it's a renovation, maybe a whole house, that you're building, or you just need a light switch that's all messed up and you don't know why. Or you want to add something like, put a hot tub outside, and you're going to need to run some, dedicated electric lines to that. All of that stuff. You call those guys. Don't do it yourself. Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want to burn your house down and be standing outside going, man, I should have called. Holy crap. Look at that. Oh, there goes grandma's room. Up in flames. Yeah, probably should have called. Call Greg now. 920-661-7577. 920-661-7577. allnationssolar.electric.com. What else do we have here? Pete says, did you see the Rays have a combo no-hitter going through 8 against the Royals right now? I did see that. It just popped up, as a matter of fact, here on the screen in the studio. Just checking to see if anything has happened since then. Yeah, the Royals are being no-hit. Look at the Rays, though. 13 runs on 15 hits already. Man. Rays are killing them. Royals going down. Pirates leading 3-1 right now over the Mariners. Games later on tonight in the division. Cubs are on the road taking on the Mets this evening, and the Cardinals are at home facing the Diamondbacks. So the Pirates already underway, 3-1. Top of the 7th, by the way, in Pittsburgh. And then later on tonight, you got the Cubs and the Mets and the Cardinals at home taking on the Diamondbacks. There you go. All right, let's get back to it. Let's go to Wayne in Durand. Wayne, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Hi, Bill. So the proposed salary cap is actually $245.3 million, $245, and the floor would be $171.2.
Okay, you have a whole lot more teams that still need to come up.
Right. So my thing is, Major League Baseball is not proposing those numbers with the idea that any team is going to lose money. Period.
Right.
That's the bottom where they still feel that they can be profitable at a fair amount. So the Brewers this year are roughly at 130. And if that supposedly is going to happen next year, 2027, that means they can afford it this year as well. So that's $40 million that they could get at. Now, the fact that the Brewers don't operate like that is the caveat here. But they have $40 million that they could play with and get themselves a bat and a pitcher. You're probably going to be, like the other person said, you're going to be depleting your farm system. But are we really in it to win it, or are we just going to have our good old summer farm like always?
Right.
You tell me, what do you think right now? Are they in it to win it or summer of fun?
I don't know if you said it. Until they prove me different, it's summer of fun. I haven't spent a dime on the Brewers in 5 years. Because I have felt that way all along, and he confirmed it last year.
Okay. Yeah, when he made that statement, that certainly turned more than a few people off. That's for sure. I mean, you look at the numbers, though. I mean, people are tuning in droves. I mean, people are watching this Brewers team and hoping for the best. But as far as the spending of money and going to games, I don't know. I don't know if that's affected them or not. Doesn't seem to be, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have cable, and I don't pay to watch them. What I know is what I see on watching Gamecast or whatever on the ESPN app.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. So, I don't know. And prove me wrong, Ananazio. Prove me wrong.
Right. Okay. No, fair enough, man. Appreciate the phone call. Wayne and Durant's like, look, I'm not paying for it. Till they go all in, it isn't happening. And I respect that.
It's like their best 5 or 6 year run in team history since the 80s. So I don't know. When you say, well, I haven't spent a dime on the Brewers in 5 years, it's like, well, I don't know when you would ever that. I'm not, you fan however you want, but that's a little bit of a bummer to hear.
I guess, I guess you ask yourself, have they done everything they can to go all in? Because that's what he's saying is like, hey, look, if you're not going to go all in and you're just, because you're doing it with young guys, you're doing it with, lower salary, are you making the big move to really kind of give everybody the hope that you genuinely are actually going for it? Okay. I can't argue that because they really haven't had any big free agent signings. The last time they had a big free agent signing was the guy that wasn't even a free agent, and that was Christian Yelich. They've taken some chances on a few minor signings, but have they done anything to make you say, yeah, they're going all in?
But the thing is, they're not going to. They've explained that they're not going to, and they've explained why.
Right.
It's because they think this gives them a better chance.
Right. And that's what he's saying is like, look, you don't take the opportunity when it presents itself. Yeah, you're churning water in the postseason, but you're not winning anything because you're not doing the extras to actually get there. And I get that. I can't argue that. But I agree with you. I don't want to see them trade away, all the future for the here and the now. And then if it doesn't work, then you're kind of left, with your junk in your hand going, well, okay, we took our shot. We told you about it. And now it just didn't happen. And now what? So I get that too. I still think they're going to do something. Let me be clear. I still think they're going to do something. I don't think they're going to stand pat. But again, this could be a completely different discussion coming up in a month. Completely different. Because who knows? Maybe something begins to happen and suddenly offensively they're getting the job done. And then all it is one extra arm because of an injury or a question mark somewhere. But we just, I don't know. I don't know what constitutes all in for people to feel better about it, I guess is my point.
I mean, the Cubs signed Alex Bregman. He's been a disaster.
Yep.
I mean, look, I'm not saying that it's bad to spend money. I think people are chasing a concept. They want to feel like I want to see him go for it. I want to see him try. I think they are.
Here's my question.
They're doing it in a form and fashion that they've designed that's kind of the envy of a lot of Major League Baseball right now.
And that's my question is, do you think Bregman being here would have been a better fit and he would be more productive here than going to Chicago? And I don't know what the culture is in Chicago, but from what I hear, it's nothing like it is here. Like the Brewers are the envy of many. So, and you look at a guy like Adames and he leaves here and doesn't perform nearly as well. And then he's finally starting to get better in San Francisco. But if they would have paid Adames, would he have stayed as hot and as good here? Because of the culture, because of the intangibles that they have here. Would Bregman have been better here? If so, that completely changes the left side of your infield. For power numbers, if you go back to what Bregman did last year when he was with Boston.
If you think that Bregman in Milwaukee would be a fundamentally different player than he is right now in Chicago, fine. But he has had the opposite of power. He's been a singles guy,
right,
and left more runners on base and runners in scoring position than any other guy in Major League Baseball. I
wonder that because I look at guys that have come here and have gotten better, and I look at guys that have been bought by other teams and have gotten worse. And I keep thinking, okay, is it that they come here and the Brewers figure it out? There's a culture. There's a joy in coming to work. Would they have been better here? Because we can look at it and go, wow, boy, that sucked. I'm glad we didn't do that. One of the best deals that we never made. Okay, but would they have been better here? Because of what we talk about with the culture. And again, this is a complete hypothetical because we have no way of knowing. But I still wonder that. I wonder if they would have been better in Milwaukee with everything that's going on here or would they have messed up the chemistry? That's the other thing. You got to question that as well. Would they have messed up the chemistry in Milwaukee? All great things to talk about, but the bottom line is that the Brewers are still leading the division. They're still going to end up going to the postseason. And you hope, for lack of a better term, you just hope for the best. But what are they going to do to better themselves in some way, shape, or form? And I feel like we're just treading water. Doesn't it feel like that a little bit?
In what way?
Like we're just standing pat and hoping for more.
Sure. Yeah.
We're just hoping for better.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, I try to bring this up on my show as often as possible. I know people don't want to hear it. They were in the LCS last year. They lost to the best baseball team I've ever seen.
Right.
So they came up short of winning a World Series last year. People talk about them like they lost to the wild card round and they got swept out.
I know.
So that's an important piece of perspective. Treading water in all right, let's have another great year and go into the playoffs and see if you can't get a couple bounces to go your way. Yeah, I guess. Treading water. I enjoy the tread. I enjoy watching this team win for 162
I do too.
Games.
I really do. I'm having a fun time watching this team this season. And I don't want to see the heartbreak at the end of the season. If everything plays out, they win the division, they're the second best team in baseball, as like if it ended today, and they go to play the Dodgers, and again they get swept by the Dodgers in 4. What will we end up saying? We'll say the same thing. They didn't do enough. They didn't make that extra move or two that could really kind of help them over the top. Now, it's easy to sit here and say that, but I think that's what fans are. That's where the frustration lies, is like, okay, we're getting there, but what are we doing to get past that? Because you kind of feel like the Buffalo Bills. Every year you're going to the NLCS, or they went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, and then they just kept running into problems and the same thing, and they never got over the top. And they're the little team that never did, and they're still aching for a Super Bowl win. That's kind of where our sentimentality is. We've got this really good baseball team, and they've won a lot of games, and they've got a great win percentage. We love our manager, and we love the ballpark, and we love being this fan base. But we're kind of turning into the lovable losers in the sense that, yeah, but our aspirations, our reality is, yeah, we're not going to get past the high market team. We're not going to do that. So our World Series is an NLCS. Is getting there, or maybe prior to that, our World Series is actually winning a divisional round, getting to the NLCS. Yay! Because we know ultimately we're going to get bounced. So that's where the Brewers fan mentality is, that says they're not doing enough to get us past that. But I still say you're going to the NLCS. Not that it is acceptable to lose, but there's so many teams that would love to be in your position right now. So a real double-edged sword, man. It sucks because we're on the losing end of it, but it's also an awesome thing compared to where everybody else is. How'd you like to be the Mets? How'd you like to be the Phillies? How'd you like to be Pittsburgh or Chicago or Cincinnati, St. Louis? How'd you like to be any of those? How'd you like to be San Diego, San Francisco? They're not going. Brewers are. But we're not getting over the top. So it's a fascinating conundrum. It just is. 877-867-1670. Find us. We'd love to hear from you again. 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. We're going to talk with Mo Edgar from ESPN Radio out of Cincinnati coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by Buzzard Billy's on Pearl Street in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Starlight Lounge upstairs. Great food downstairs. Craft cocktails upstairs. Get yourself a really awesome martini upstairs, or a glass of wine or a beer or whatever downstairs. Good food with a little bit of a Cajun flair on Pearl Street in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, win's the easy one, but I think it's too blanket of the statement. Every game is different, and I always feel that way. They're a very good team. They're hard to beat because they challenge you in so many ways. But we just have to be more consistent in a number of areas.
And Terry Francona talking about the ability to beat the Milwaukee Brewers.
Sometimes I get a good.
It was kind of an anemic series when it came to the bats for Cincinnati and for Milwaukee, for that matter. It's just Milwaukee had the arms, and last night they got a little bit of luck in the latter portion of that ball game, and they walk away with a sweep. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at The Nice Ash Cigar Bar. Tonight is Thursday night. You got live music tonight. Tomorrow night, Friday Night Live takes place in downtown Waukesha. And you can kind of walk the streets with your favorite beverage, and then you head into Nice Ash Cigar Bar, get your favorite cigar, get your favorite stick. They got live music on Fridays, Saturdays as well. And don't forget, they have hookahs. They've got fine bourbons and whiskeys. Huge walk-in humidor, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha, Wisconsin. Stop in, tell them we said hello. I might even see you down there this weekend because I'm going to do a little meandering probably on Saturday night down in that direction. So we might even see you over there. A guy that I am envious of because he too has a cigar sponsor. I see him all the time smoking a good one, which is our buddy Mo Edgar from ESPN Radio down in Cincinnati. Mo, how you been, pal?
Bill, I'm doing well. How's everything?
I am good. I got to tell you, I bought my 513 Skyline hat because I saw you promoting them. So I'll let them know that I did get my hat in the mail, which is awesome. Terry Francona is befuddled as to why the Reds just simply can't get over Milwaukee. And I guess my question to you is, what do you see right now that, as somebody on the outside looking into the Brewers, that the Brewers are doing and the Brewers have that Cincinnati just can't figure it out?
You know, it's interesting. I've brought that up on my show a bunch here, because the common complaint, I'm sure you hear it too, is, well, the Reds can't compete with the Dodgers. And I go, cool, fine. Mm-hmm. Compete with the Milwaukee Brewers because they haven't been able to do that. And so that's where that's when you start to look at, okay, what do the Brewers do as an organization? What do they do with their manager? What do they do in terms of player acquisition and development that the Reds simply don't do? And I guess for me, it's like maybe you might not agree with this. Maybe the grossest illustration of what the Brewers seem to do well that the Reds don't is the fact that Joe Cone got 2 saves in this series. Now, if you look at Joe Cone's stats, when he was with the Reds for, I think, over a 3-season period, I think his ERA ended up being over 6. In Milwaukee, they have found a place for him in the bullpen, right? I know he's not the number one option in the 9th inning, but he was completely gassed in the 9th inning last night and still got Dane Myers to hit it to a game-ending double play. I think there's just something to that, though, where the Brewers find guys and get something out of them that it's not just the Reds, that other teams simply cannot. I also get the sense, and look, Tito Francona is going to the Hall of Fame. We know that. But I've read a number of pieces on the air. I think you've talked about this with me on my show. It feels like in Milwaukee, there is a refusal to accept mistakes, whether they're mental mistakes, physical errors, whatever it is, that for whatever reason, the Cincinnati Reds, you don't identify them with that, right? And you see a lot of guys making the same mistakes time and again. Maybe it's on the bases, maybe it's in the field, but there's just something about how well buttoned up the Brewers seem to be and how they're able to turn over stones to find gems. And I think neither are the case here in Cincinnati.
2 things to what you just stated. One is something that you can't put a sabermetric statistic to, and that is culture. I think it started somewhat with Craig Counsell, was then taken to a different level when Pat Murphy took over as the full-time manager, and he's got that almost grandfatherly figure where I'm just not going to put up with crap. And everybody knows, and he's very honest about it. He's very upfront. He's sad guys. He's pulled guys in the middle of an inning for making an error. So there's that. And then the other aspect of that is going to the pitching side of things. The Brewers were one of the first teams ever to bring in that pitching lab, that diagnostic machine where they just tweak something that makes your delivery, makes your spin rate, whatever it is, begin to increase. And they've perfected it. In my opinion, the Brewers, remember when the Cardinals used to bring anybody up? It didn't matter. They were just all of a sudden Cy Young.
The Brewers have become that. They've been able to figure guys out to say, look, you're a good pitcher. You just got to do this. You know, like Sproat was a guy that had a different arm angle. They tweaked it a little bit, and all of a sudden now he's throwing brilliant baseball after his first couple of outings being horrific. So I agree with you. I think they've got something going, a little magic elixir. But I also hear it, like you said all the time, about how can you compete. We were just talking about it. How can you compete against the Dodgers when you get to the postseason? But again, you got to get there, and you got to do it right, and you've got to be that division leader on a consistent basis. And for whatever reason, there's a culture here that is accepted by the players, instilled by the manager, and it's something that permeates through the entire organization.
I don't know what as an organization the Reds do well. And I've asked that rhetorically. I've asked it to people, you know, with the Reds. I go, okay, like what is the franchise's identity? You mentioned the Cardinals, and I think the Brewers are, frankly, a little bit more modern example of it. But, you know, we used to hear all the time about the Cardinal way. And you're right. It felt like every year they promote a guy through their system that just looked like he knew how to play. Didn't mean he was going to be an all-star. You know, didn't mean he was going to get a second contract. Didn't mean he was going to have an exceptionally long career. But for years, I used to watch with such envy how the St. Louis Cardinals would just get guys to the big leagues, and then they never had to send them back because they were ready. Reds do that? Well, no. I've read a list, and look, the Reds have done well in the first round of the draft in recent years. Chase Burns, absolute stud. Sal Stewart, absolute stud. Hunter Green, when he's healthy, absolute stud. Obviously, getting Ellie De La Cruz, who wasn't drafted, absolute stud. But if you look at the last 15 years, and you look at rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the Reds draft, you're not going to find anybody. In fact, I think and I don't have this in front of me, but I did the thing 2 weeks ago where I said, let's look at the history of the Reds over the last 30 years in rounds 2 through 5. And I think in round 3, you'd have to go back to 1993 to find the most recent third-round pick who spent even a full big league season with the Cincinnati Reds. So they don't draft well. Okay, fine. Well, do they find hidden gems and get something out of them? Occasionally they have, but for the most part, no. Are they great at developing talent? No. Are they awesome at finding, you know, second-tier free agents, third-tier free agents, bargain guys and getting something out of them? They've had their successes. J.J. Bleday was a nice pickup. Nathaniel Lowe has been a quality pickup, but by and large, the answer is no. Are they a whiz at taking players like Luis Castillo, Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker, guys they traded in 2021 and 2022? Are they great at turning those into younger, long-term pieces? Frankly, the answer is no. What are they good at? Right. And so, you know, they hired Terry Francona, and that's great. Again, Hall of Fame manager. I think he had a very positive impact on last year's team. But I think there was a real sense by some fans that, okay, they got a better, more experienced, more qualified manager than David Bell, and suddenly a lot of this stuff is going to be fixed. And as we have seen over the last year and a half, while they did make the postseason last year with 83 wins, having a Hall of Fame manager hasn't fixed any of that stuff that I just outlined. And until some of that stuff gets fixed, until you are able to identify what this organization is good at, then the results are going to be, frankly, similar to what they've been for the better part of the last 30 years.
Cincinnati has basically a weekend to regroup, and then they're at American Family Field, and they're staring down the barrel of the Brewers yet again. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. It used to be you could go in and beat up on Pittsburgh, and you'd think, okay, this is great. We're back on, we'll put the train back on the tracks, but Pittsburgh's even picked up their game somewhat. So you're quickly looking at this going, and I said it going into the series, if the Brewers swept the Reds, they just gave the Reds the knockout blow when it comes to even their thoughts of winning the division. That is now gone when you're double digits down going into the All-Star break. But if they punch them even harder after, say, they only win 1 against Pittsburgh or 2 against Pittsburgh, but still don't gain any ground, and then they can lose 3 out of 4 to the Brewers here, that's got to be demoralizing at this point to have such a stretch of baseball in a 10-day period absolutely kick you in the solar plexus if that indeed happens.
Yeah, seasons on life support. It's hard to imagine, but, you know, go back to late April. This team was 20-11. And 20-11 are doing a great job of winning one-run games, winning games in extra innings. And to me, the biggest change between the first 4 weeks of the season and everything that's happened subsequent to late April has been the bullpen. In the first month of the season, I thought that the work that Nick Craw, the president of baseball operations, did with the bullpen was really going to pay dividends, because it kind of felt like they were going to be able to carve out specific roles for innings 7, 8, and 9. And over the last, whatever it's been, 6, 7, 8 weeks, that simply hasn't been the case. The closer, Emilio Pagan, was not very effective before he got injured. Then he got injured. He hasn't pitched since early May. They've had an injury to Graham Ashcraft, one of the more reliable relievers. Pierce Johnson has spent time on the injured list. But by and large, that group has been an abject disaster, really since May 1st. And when you don't have a team that scores 1 billion runs, and the Reds have all sorts of offensive issues, below league average production at every position on the field except for shortstop and first base, you better be really good at getting outs in innings 7, 8, and 9. And as we saw last night, as we saw in extra innings on Monday night, that simply hasn't been the case. And until that gets rectified, this team's ability to even come close to sniffing a wild card, forget the division, that's out of reach. Their ability to even come close to sniffing a wild card is going to be severely limited.
Now, I know there is the small market thought when it comes to being in Cincinnati, and I want to ask you this specifically because we're looking down the barrel of a possible work stoppage going into the 2027 season. Are what the Brewers doing being perceived on the outside looking in as ruining baseball? Because the dominant teams have been the big money teams. They're winning World Series, but the Brewers are continually winning. They're winning divisions, and they're getting to the NLCS. They just haven't been able to get past that hump. But the argument that the big market teams have against the small market teams to say, hey, we need a salary cap, when you look at the Brewers and go, no, you don't. Are they ruining baseball on the outside looking in?
I'm sure there's some people who feel that way. It's interesting. I'm sure you can find people who would say the Brewers are ruining baseball, and then in the second breath, they'll tell you the Dodgers and Mets are ruining baseball. Well, which is it, right? Can't be both. I don't think the Brewers are ruining baseball. I think the A's are ruining baseball. I think the Pirates are ruining baseball. I think the Rays to a degree, and the Marlins. And look, the Rays have a very good team. I think it's one thing when you do what the Brewers do and create and exploit market inefficiencies and get really good at developing talent and get really good at winning. When you're a team that goes forever between playoff appearances, when you're a team that just tracks its fans with endless rebuilds and you don't spend to get out of it, I think that's a lot worse for baseball than what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing. I think if you ask people in Pittsburgh, what's worse for the game, the Pirates and Bob Nutting or the Brewers and their ownership, I'd probably say the Pittsburgh Pirates. I would be willing to bet that if you said to folks here in Cincinnati, what's worse, the Reds and how they've been run and currently enjoying, if you will, the longest drought of advancing in the postseason in all of professional sports. Is that worse for the sport? Or is what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing worse for the sport? I am fascinated by how this CBA negotiation is going to go because, number one, if you use history as a guide, players never accept a salary cap. It's the strongest labor union in the United States. But I do feel like there's a different resolve among owners because of what's happened with the Dodgers. I feel like acquiring Kyle Tucker was a tipping point for baseball owners this year. And so it feels like both sides are really, really dug in. But I stop well short of saying that what the Brewers are doing is bad for baseball. I point the fingers at the teams that don't spend and aren't even remotely close to as successful as Milwaukee.
There you go, our guy, Mo Edgar. Mo, always appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out with us for a couple of minutes. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back, wrap things up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Dollar Love Center. Dollar Love Center.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. Chuck, where can I find your nearest location around Madison?
Great question. The best way to find us is Google Dollar Loan Center near me, or go to don'tbebroke.com, where you can even apply online if you like.
Well, I use ChatGPT now.
I'm sure that would work too. The bottom line is it's worth the effort. We save customers a lot compared to other payday or title places, and we lend way more. We even give all new customers the first week's interest on us, sort of a free trial. There's no fee to apply, and they can keep this loan out for up to a year if they really need to.
Dollar Loan Center loves Madison and lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by in Janesville, Beloit, Beaver Dam, and coming soon to Sun Prairie. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed and regulated by the Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good stuff today. A lot of good baseball discussion. Brewers off, back at it tomorrow. Here come the Cubs. Here come the Cubs. Looking forward to it. That's going to do it for us today. We're pretty much done and out of here. By the way, I want to say thanks again to everybody that attended last night for the cigar dinner out in La Crosse. Our next one is going to be down at the Alpes Hotel. We're going to be down in, by the way, the Royals broke up the no-hitter, ended up scoring a couple of runs. So the no-hitter came to an end, but Tampa Bay still 13-2 winning the game. But the next cigar dinner going to be at the Alpes Hotel in Kenosha. Tickets are on sale at quickspirits.com, KWIK, quickspirits.com. Got all that going on, and we'll be back at it again tomorrow. Until